Welcome to Ames, Iowa for one of the biggest games in Iowa State history as the Cyclones, rank for the first time in 12 years, take on number 4 TCU in a battle for first place in the Big 12. Iowa State has been one of the biggest surprises in college football. Beat a top 5 team on the road for the first time in school history just 3 weeks ago, knocking off the Sooners in Norman. Kyle Kemp making his first career start. Throws a touchdown pass to Alan Lazard, one of 3 TD passes for Kemp on the day, as Iowa State knocks off then number 3 OU. Iowa State's won 3 straight, including last week at Texas Tech. Kyle Kemp had 3 more touchdown passes in that game, and today they welcome TCU, which is 7-0 and 4-0 in the Big 12. And hi, everybody, alongside Greg McElroy and Dave Pasch. We'll get to Tom Luganville in a minute. So how has Iowa State done it? Well, they don't beat themselves. No lost fumbles this year. They rarely turn it over. One of the least penalized teams, too, Greg, in college football. But they're going to have to do more than just doing the little things and not making mistakes to beat a team like TCU.
TCU is their biggest challenge so far because of their speed and their athleticism. Also the development of their quarterback. Kenny Hill, in his senior year, is a completely different player. Of course, we remember him not that long ago at Texas A&M, and then last year at TCU. Really an up and down season. A lot of mistakes. Much more comfortable, though. You see that completion percentage and the accuracy off the charts compared to where it was a year ago.
And those numbers also help with a strong running game. He's got 2 pretty guys to hand it to in the backfield.
Yeah, this is not the air raid system that we traditionally know. This is an offense that really leans on the run game. They have a 2-headed monster at running back in Kyle Hicks and Darius Anderson, both of which are elite, especially compared to their Big 12 cohorts.
And here comes the Crones. Well, the guy that has embodied Iowa State's success this season is Joel Lanning. With more on him, let's bring in Tom.
You know, guys, it can be so cliched when you talk about changing the culture. But if you're going to be in this position in your Iowa State, that's exactly what Joel Lanning has done to this football team. Consider the faith and trust that he put in Matt Campbell and his staff, who've been here for 1 year. They come to him and they say, you know what? You're no longer going to be our quarterback. You're now going to be our middle linebacker. You're going to lead our defense. And in doing so, not only did it change the locker room, the building, it changed the stadium, and it brought this team to a 5-2 record. And now they've got a new quarterback in Kyle Kemp, hoping to get his 4th win here today against a TCU team poised for a college football playoff run.
It's the first home game, Tom, between ranked teams here in Ames since 2002 when Iowa State beat Nebraska. And that's their only win all time in ranked matchups, believe it or not. So Kyle Kemp, former walk-on and former Oregon State quarterback. Guy has bounced around, finally found a home. Replaced Jacob Park when he left due to personal reasons, and has not returned to the team the week of the Oklahoma game. Kemp, who at one point was number 3, maybe even 4 on the depth chart, has been the leader of this group in this 3-game win streak. And it's a hot name in coaching. A lot of discussion about Matt Campbell this week. He's a guy that's used to winning. He was a player and a coach at Mount Union, was a part of 5 championships. Also played in high school at Massillon, Ohio, where they won a lot of state titles. Was at Toledo for 4 years, had 3 9-win seasons. He's a guy that knows a few things about winning as well. Gary Patterson, you remember that TCU Rose Bowl team with Andy Dalton, and then a few years ago thought they were going to be in the college football playoff after trouncing Iowa State in the final regular season game. Instead, they drop out of the top 4 and don't make the college football playoff. Now they've added obviously the Big 12 championship game, and they're hoping that Kenny Hill is the guy to get them there in 2017. If TCU wins, it'll be its 4th 8-0 start in the last 9 years, and Iowa State trying to get bowl eligible for the first time in 5 seasons. Give me a couple things that you're looking for outside of what you discussed in the open about the running backs for TCU, the play of Kenny Hill. What about the big receivers for Iowa State against some small corners? Is that a matchup to watch, Greg?
That is. Watch these receivers for Iowa State. They have so much length on the perimeter with Hakeem Butler, who's 6'6", and the aforementioned Alan Lazard, who's 6'5", two tight ends that are 6'7" and change. This is a long team that are trying to make sure that they can create matchups on the perimeter, and they're going to get a chance to do so first here in this big matchup in Ames.
Iowa State gets the ball first, and running it out of the end zone is Landon Akers. And Akers past the 25-yard line. Well, we talked about Kyle Kemp. Like Matt Campbell as head coach, he's from Massillon High School, but he goes to college all the way out west to Oregon State, where he just lasts 2 years, and then goes to junior college in Kansas. Matt Campbell tried to get him at Toledo when he was there. And now they are reunited as a fifth-year senior playing for Campbell here as the Cyclones are ranked for the first time since 2005. Can he do it again today and get to 4-0 as a starter? Talked about TCU's running game. Iowa State's got an excellent running back in David Montgomery, who will get the call here on the first play, and he's past the 30. It's about 7 yards. When you watch film on Kyle Kemp, what do you see, Greg?
He knows what his strengths and weaknesses are. He doesn't try to do too much. So many quarterbacks at the college level, they say, you know what, I was a gifted player in high school. I can make that throw. He's not willing to take those chances. He knows what his team needs from him to be successful.
Thrown just the one pick on the season. Out of an empty set here, he'll throw for the first time. And there's Alan Lazard. He couldn't hang on, though. Normally sure-handed, 42 consecutive games with a catch. That's #1 among active players in the country. Jeff Gladney was in coverage and maybe got a piece of it there at the end.
Ball just a little bit too high. Even though Lazard is 6'5", those throws over the middle, even the biggest receivers have a tendency to look out in front of them to make sure they're not going to get hit from an inside presence. One he's got to bring down, though, for sure.
Look at how crowded the box is. TCU's got 10 guys there. Iowa State going to spread it out. Montgomery leaving the backfield. Kemp to the air on third down. Gets hit and sacked. Back at the 35-yard line. They brought Ennis Gaines a safety. He got back there, and it's 3 and out for the Cyclones. So Iowa State wastes a good first down play. Now they got to kick it to Cavante Turpin. That was his 90-yard punt return for a touchdown against Kansas. He actually went over 100 because he went forward about 5 yards and ran back to the 3. He's got 3 of them over the course of his career.
He's a human highlight reel.
Colin Downing is the punter. He actually said he was looking forward to kicking to Turpin this week. Excellent punt and the fair catch around the 31. Let's check in with Chris Cotter in the studio. So TCU's offense on the field for the first time. Kenny Hill, senior from Southlake, Texas, threw 5 touchdown passes last week against Kansas. Going to hand it off to Kyle Hicks. And a good run on first down out to the 38, picking up 7 yards.
Kenny Hill has such a good command of this offense. Very confident young man that's playing at a very high level.
A swing pass here to Hicks. Excellent block out there, but a flag comes in. And Cole Hunt was sitting on top of an Iowa State player. Looked like a good block initially, and then he just didn't get it off him. So that likely will come back.
That might have been an offensive tackle, boys, because he tackled the defender.
Holding, offense, number 81. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. It's second down.
And here he is, right there at the point of attack. And you can see that is very clear that the speed presence from the secondary defender was about to beat Hunt inside. He wasn't having anything to do with it, though. Reached that left hand out and grabbed the collar. and easily brought down the defender for an obvious hold to set TCU behind the sticks.
But these are the types of plays, guys, that Iowa State needs to happen in this game early. They need TCU. They got to win on 1st and 2nd down. Can't find themselves in 3rd and short against this TCU offense.
And at 2nd and 13 because of the penalty, back at the 28-yard line for TCU. Hill off play action, looking downfield, going to take a shot, and it's overthrown, incomplete. He was trying to hit Taj Williams. So it's 3rd and long. TCU, though, is #1 in college football in 3rd down conversions, but they're normally in 3rd and short because we don't see Kenny Hill taking a lot of shots down the field.
He's very aware of how to get back on track when their early downs set them behind the sticks and off rhythm. Now in a 3rd and 13 with the crowd coming alive, it's a very difficult spot on the road.
Hill with a ton of time, going to throw it underneath. Here's John Diarse, and fighting for yardage, but he's going to come up well short of the line to gain. You could see Iowa State, they were not going to let anybody throw it past the sticks, so TCU goes 3 and out.
Drop 9 right there by Iowa State. They love to drop deep and rally up and make the tackle. This Iowa State defense has been so improved from a tackling standpoint at every single level. Right there, they trusted their defenders to bring the guy down in open space.
Adam Nunez to punt. Trevor Ryan fields it on the 15 and signal for the fair catch. 47-yard punt, no return tonight at 8 Eastern on ABC or ESPN2. Clemson still alive for the college football playoff, but 1 loss, and obviously the Tigers can't afford to lose again. Same goes for Oklahoma, which plays Texas Tech. Last year, Baker Mayfield threw over 500 yards, 7 touchdowns in a win against Texas Tech.
Yeah, that game was about 66-59, and it lasted 22 hours. It was like a cricket match. So I think that one's going to be exciting nonetheless.
Second possession for Iowa State, starting on the 15-yard line. In space, it goes to Deshaunte Jones, who gets the first down. Picks up close to 16 yards. Jones with his 15th catch.
Nice, easy completion to get Kemp going. Missed the first throw of the game high. Now on the second drive, getting in a rhythm.
Montgomery on the catch, and he doesn't get much, wrapped up immediately by Nick Orr, a 3-year starter on defense for TCU, so no gain on that play.
Hey, Greg, watching from the sideline on the last 2 series for Iowa State, very interesting. They run like 20 players onto the field and bunch up, so the TCU's coaches can't get an idea of what their personnel is when they're trying to substitute when they start off each series. Very savvy by Iowa State offensively.
They do all the little things right, Tom, including making life difficult on the opposing coaching staff.
There's 2nd and 10 as Kemp now changing things up. Again, just his 4th start at quarterback for Iowa State. And he checked into a run. Montgomery breaking free. And Montgomery able to get the first down to the 41-yard line. Welcome to those of you that watch Oklahoma State beat West Virginia on the direct snap. David Montgomery for Iowa State out to the 48-yard line in this battle for first place in the Big 12. It's one of the biggest games in Iowa State history, playing a top 5 team here at home. The Cyclones a win away from being bowl eligible for the first time in 5 years. TCU looking to go to 8-0. If Iowa State wins, we could have a 4-way tie atop the Big 12 with Oklahoma State. Oklahoma playing tonight against Texas Tech on ABC. And TCU trying to avoid its first loss of the season. Iowa State has won 3 in a row, beat Oklahoma 3 weeks ago. They've done it by not turning the ball over, not hurting themselves. TCU has been great on the road, won in Stillwater about a month ago as Montgomery gets the call in 2nd and 3 and is taken down at the line of scrimmage.
Montgomery, 31.
There's Matt Campbell in his second year as head coach for Iowa State. Just 3 wins last year. Already 5-2 record this season. Temperature about 40 degrees at kickoff and sunny skies. We thought we'd have snow and overcast skies coming into the game. On third down, it's caught for a first down by Alan Lazard. That's now 43 straight games with a catch, the longest active streak in college football.
Alan Lazard is so big on these post-up routes. It's just a hitch. I mean, you see that left arm of Lazard push the defender by, and you see how far Gladney's pushed up field for the easy completion.
Kempt off play action, gets hit, the ball floats in the air, Lazard catches up to it though. Pulled in at the 17-yard line for 22 yards. He's their go-to guy at the game-winning touchdown in Norman against the Sooners.
Not exactly the way you draw it up, with Kempt getting hit as the ball's released and it floating up to the awaiting arms of Lazard. Did he get underneath it? By that angle, it looks like he did.
Iowa State in the red zone against the TCU defense that gave up just 21 yards against Kansas last week. A Big 12 record. TCU giving up more than that on this drive, but Montgomery unable to get anything here. No gain on the play. Ty Summers in there first for the Frogs.
Greg, a lot of different looks so far from Iowa State. I'm standing next to Gary Patterson right here, and he's trying to get his team to line up and calm down. Wants them to show a little sprinkled in something and then back out of it, but they're doing it too quickly. Wants his team to slow down on defense and settle in.
Giving up 68 yards, Tom, on this drive. 2nd and 10. Kempt with time into the end zone. Caught. Touchdown, Matthew Eaton, and the Clones strike first. How about this kid, Kyle Kempt? Walk-on, 5th-year senior, making his 4th start in a row. That's his 8th touchdown pass of the year. One of the great stories in college football. A guy that bounced around, nobody wanted him. He was at Oregon State for 2 years, then junior college. He steps in for Jacob Park, who goes on personal leave. Kempt was at one point 4th string in the depth chart, but he's the guy now.
It might be the biggest game in more than a decade in Ames, Iowa. But Kyle Kempt and his receivers making it look easy. Business as usual in Ames. Clones lead.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week. Here in Ames, Iowa, packed house to watch the Cyclones and number 4 TCU. And a great start for Kyle Kempt, who was 5 of 5 on that drive for 65 yards and a touchdown. Iowa State striking first. Short kickoff fielded by Cavante Turpin, one of the dangerous return men in the game, but not on that one. Smoked at the 14-yard line. Well, Kenny Hill is the quarterback for TCU. Everybody remembers what he did in his first game replacing Johnny Manziel. This is when he was A&M. 500 yards beating a top 10 team in South Carolina, but then got into trouble, suspended a couple of games by Texas A&M, decided to transfer, sat out a year at TCU, has started the last 2 years, turnover prone a year ago, 13 picks, but just 3 this year. What's been the biggest difference in his game?
I think the improvement up front along the offensive line, so he's not constantly feeling pressure, the emergence of 2 outstanding running backs on the ground for TCU's offense, and the fact that he's just taking what the defense gives him, not getting restless by not hitting the big play.
A short pass here, and it's caught by true freshman Jalen Reagor, who's been one of their best offensive weapons this year. 2 touchdowns last week against Kansas.
He's a guy that's going to be a star. He can flat out fly, and even early in his career, TCU's offensive coordinator Sonny Cumbie is really trying to feature him within this offense.
His high school coach was John Kitna, longtime NFL quarterback. He picked up the first down. Here's Hicks. Beautiful move to the outside. Hicks past the 40. Got 17 on that run. He's shaken up. He's missed a couple games of injury already this year.
Being able to get to the perimeter is something that TCU really wants to do today. They have an advantage from a speed standpoint. So anytime that ball bounces outside the tackles, that's advantage Horned Frogs.
You mentioned their backs. They've got another one here. Anderson, who collects the pitch, but is taken down for a loss at the 37 by DeAndre Payne. 3-yard loss on the play.
Great play by DeAndre Payne, shedding the block of the freshman Rager and tackling TCU behind the sticks. TCU on consecutive drives now has been at 2nd and 13. They have to be more efficient on first down if they're going to have success against this opportunistic defense.
Yeah, they had a big penalty that negated a first down on that opening drive. Hill to the air. And it's deflected and almost picked off by Joel Lanning. Former quarterback, moved to middle linebacker this year, the heart and soul of this team. This place would have gone nuts if he had picked this off. Deflected by Lima.
Well, look what I found. Off the deflection and hit Lanning right in the face.
Tell you what, though, guys, this is exactly what Iowa State needs. 2 series in a row with TCU in 3rd and long. That's the recipe for them on defense.
I expect Iowa State to drop way out and rally up to make the play underneath the sticks.
Yeah, they only rush 3. Hill into traffic, incomplete. Tried to hit Rager. And Iowa State able to get TCU's offense, which is number 10, or number 9 rather, in the country in scoring off the field again.
It's amazing to see this TCU offense now on 3rd down, still unable to have success. When you are in a position and it's 3rd and 13 and the defense drops all the way out, there's only so many windows to throw the football. It's been a great job executing early for the Clones.
Nunes almost got that blocked. An Iowa State player ran right by him. What a kick, though. It's fielded by Ryan inside his 5. And Ryan gets a block across the 10. Past the 20, the 30. Ryan finally steps out.
It's the little things for Iowa State. Not letting this ball go past and see if it lands in the end zone. Ryan opts to grab it, and a huge change in field position and momentum. The Clones are feeling great.
Scenes from the first win in school history against the top 5 team on the road. That was 3 weeks ago. Now, the last time they beat a top 5 team at home was 2011 against Oklahoma State. You remember that great overtime game against the number 2 ranked Cowboys. Iowa State's lost 11 straight since. They've got TCU, though, right now 7-0 and start near midfield after Kyle Kemp threw his 8th touchdown pass of the season on the last drive. And off to David Montgomery, nowhere to go. Wrapped up by Ross Blacklock. Kyle Kemp has been everywhere. Grew up in Seattle, went to high school in Massillon, was the valedictorian there, was offered by Matt Campbell when he was at Toledo, but decided to go to Oregon State. Was a scholarship player there for a couple of years, but things didn't work out, so he goes to community college in Kansas, then walks on at Iowa State. And at one point this year was number 4 on the depth chart. But now he's starting, took over for Jacob Park. Took a personal leave 3 weeks ago. And Kemp throwing it downfield, and it's caught by Lazard. How many people know about Alan Lazard, but he's one of the best in college football at his position.
He has been so consistent over the years, and we mentioned just the length that Iowa State has at wide receivers, so difficult to cover with 5'11" corners, which is what TCU has.
That was a 25-yard pass play. Here's Montgomery breaking tackles. A flag down, which might negate that huge run by Montgomery. He was well put together. 5'11", 220. They couldn't get him down. The number 2 rusher in the Big 12. But again, the penalty marker.
Offense number 51, 10-yard penalty. First down.
Yeah, see the flag thrown there in the middle of the field. It was on the center. Julian Good-Jones.
Keep an eye on the center, just right there in the center of the screen. And look at that left arm and how he grabbed the defender. Number 42, Ty Summers. Not egregious, but the first time we've seen a penalty from an Iowa State team since a few weeks ago. They had 0 last week against the Red Raiders.
The first time that happened since 1989 in the game for the Cyclones. A little shovel pass and TCU all over it. Montgomery on the catch, but he loses 2 at the 40-yard line. There's been Banagoo, who's been a star at defensive end for the Horned Frogs this year.
TCU needed that penalty, fellas, because they needed this thing to slow down a little bit. They got gassed on the throw down the seam. Then you give up the run. You have the penalty. It's almost like getting that timeout in basketball where you just need to take a breath and then get a big play there on the repeat of first down.
And TCU right now looking like a little man across the board. If I'm Kyle Kemp, I might take a shot downfield to one of my big wide receivers.
You got guys at 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" at receiver. As Kemp rolls to his left, completes the pass. Not much on the play, though, caught by Murdoch. So 3rd and long coming up here for Iowa State.
Well, Greg, you were mentioning those corners at TCU, being 5'11", and they got a couple of 5'10" guys, too. And Anthony Tejada, 11's been picked on a little bit here in the first quarter. Big 3rd down coming. Let's see if they isolate him with some height on some shorter guys on the perimeter.
And he is isolated against big number 5.
Yep.
Alan Lazard on the bottom of your screen.
3rd and 20. Kemp going to throw it underneath, and it's incomplete. Now, if you complete that, you got a shot at a field goal, but Sheldon Croney couldn't hang on to the ball, so it's 4th down and 20. And Iowa State going to punt it here and hope to pin TCU inside its 10-yard line.
Yeah, that's really been important for Iowa State over the last 3 games. Their 3-game win streak is field position. Right here, have a chance to pin Cavante Turpin and the TCU Horned Frogs offense deep in their own end.
Turpin had a punt return for a touchdown last week, has 3 for his career. That's not a good kick by Downing, and it gets even worse as it checks up. That's going to end up being about a 15-yard punt. Big mistake by Colin Downing. ABC Saturday Afternoon College Football is presented by Kay Jewelers. With Greg McElroy, Tom Lugan, Bill down on the field, I'm Dave Pash. Here in Ames, Iowa. One of the biggest games in school history for the Cyclones. And they lead number 4 TCU 7-0. But a poor punt when the Cyclones had a chance to pin the Horned Frogs deep in their own end. And Kenny Hill on the keeper. That's a great fake. And Hill gets the first down. There's a penalty marker down, though, at the 28-yard line. TCU already had a holding call to negate a first down run. It looks like they're going to have another penalty here.
Holding. Offense number 9. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It's first down.
It's on another receiver, John Diarse. Well, Joel Lanning from Ankeny, Iowa, was a football player, baseball player, wrestler, lettered in track, and he was the starting quarterback here at Iowa State the last 2 years. But guess what? They moved him to middle linebacker. That probably doesn't happen in Alabama, Greg.
Not the normal transition that you occasionally see in college football.
He's been the heart and soul of their team, though. Anderson able to break a tackle and get positive yardage, a gain of about 5 on the play. The Lanning family is here. Ankeny's about a 25-30 minute drive. Lanning also plays special teams. He's played over 220 snaps the last 3 games. Also gets in there quarterback to run the ball on occasion. Anderson going to bring up 3rd and about 3.
Lanning has just such a special young man. He's a big reason why Iowa State is in the position that they're in, knocking on the door of first place. They're up against a very talented offense on the other side for the Horned Frogs.
TCU #1 in the country in third down conversions. 0 for 2 today, though, because of 3rd and 1. This is much easier, 3rd and 3. And they're going to keep it on the ground, and they don't get it. It's their 235-pound back they love to give it to in those situations. But Joel Lanning knocking down Alana Lua short of the line to gain.
Look at Lanning. Just peeling right off the edge of number 70. Wagwu, and making the play at the line of scrimmage. What a great stop by this clone defense against a highly potent 3rd down offense for the Frogs.
Would you stuck your face in there as a quarterback? Make that hit on a 235-pound back?
Absolutely not. I'll hand it off.
Tuesday, Halloween night at 7 Eastern, ESPN with the exclusive reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings, the first one of the year. Where will TCU be if the Horned Frogs win this game? If they don't, obviously they're not out of the college football playoff race. The only thing we know for sure is Alabama's going to be #1. And you got Georgia thumping Florida right now as that snap was high. And also Penn State up 14-0 on Ohio State. Lazard lets that one go, and it'll be down near the 10-yard line. So we go to the studio and Cassidy Hubbard.
Dave, you mentioned Georgia thumping Florida. AT&T Field Pass. Georgia fans certainly the only ones celebrating at the largest outdoor cocktail party. Sonny Michel, 74-yard run. And the 3rd-ranked Bulldogs are up 21-0 right now on Florida. Dave, Greg, back to you.
And Georgia's really good. They're really good. And, you know, it's interesting with Notre Dame, Greg. We talk about the playoff rankings on Notre Dame fits into this whole thing. I mean, you might have 2, maybe even 3 power conferences left out of the college football playoff.
It's a very real possibility. Notre Dame, they looked superhuman last week, that's for sure. But the Big 12, TCU and Oklahoma State, they certainly are not out of it. And the Pac-12, they're fighting an uphill battle, though, to me.
Had a little trouble with the snap, and so the handoff to Montgomery, a little delayed, and there's nothing there. That front for TCU, pretty good. Plus, Isahaka, his safety, was in the box that time and made the hit. I mean, you think you're going to have, obviously, Alabama, the way Georgia's going, so if Notre Dame somehow gets in, and they can't lose another game. They got NC State today. They got Miami in a couple weeks on the road. They still have Stanford. Play action here for Kent, taking a shot, single coverage, and it's almost caught. Lazard couldn't hang on. They went at Tejada again, but it's 3rd down.
And you think Iowa State has located a matchup that they think is favorable towards them? Lazard against Tejada. And pretty good coverage by Tejada, getting that right arm up, of course giving up several inches, 6 to be exact, to Lazard on the perimeter. That's about as good as you can defend it. A little higher throw, though, and Lazard still might come down with it.
That's a game plan. Throw it up to the big guys on the outside. Let him make plays. Kent looking again, and it's caught for a 1st down. Butler at 6'6", and look at him break tackles. Out to the 28-yard line, picking up 17.
When you're 6'6", 220 pounds, falling forward is something that you should expect to do. He got hit a couple times, bounced around, picked up some nice yards after catch for the big conversion. Outstanding first quarter from Iowa State, in particular their wide receivers on the edge.
The Cyclones lead it 7-0 after 1 quarter here in Ames. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Well, Iowa State's wins over Oklahoma and Texas Tech, they were down in those games. They trailed Oklahoma 14-0. Today against number 4 TCU, Matt Campbell's team striking first with Kyle Kemp's touchdown pass. So it's 7-0 Cyclones as we start the second quarter. First home game between ranked teams in 15 years for Iowa State. Montgomery trying to bounce it outside. Turned it back inside, picked up 2 on 1st and 10. Matt Campbell, one of the hottest names in coaching. The guy's a winner. Was at Mount Union as a player and a coach. 5 national championships. His dad, a high school coach in Massillon, Ohio. And at Toledo, he had 3 9-win seasons in his 4 years there. Now in his 2nd year at Iowa State. They won just 3 games last year.
He's a star in the making. A big-time coach that everybody respects.
On 2nd and 8. Little flea flicker. Kemp looking downfield. Incomplete on the jump ball. Trying to go to Lazard. Yet Tejada in coverage again.
A lot of contact as this ball approached Lazard. You can see Kemp getting it up and out, a little underthrown. And Tejada, of course, runs into Lazard as he's trying to make a play on it. I think that's a good no call. It was physical. It's been physical to this point of the game, especially between Tejada and Lazard. I think the officials did the right job right there of keeping that flag in their pocket.
Love the aggressive nature of the play calling, though, by Tom Manning and Matt Campbell there. 3rd and 8. Pressure coming. And again, they throw it up for grabs. Butler caught it, but he's short, so it's 4th down. Iowa State keeping its offense out there for now. Boy, what do you think here?
You got to punt this ball, fellas.
And you can see they're running some guys on, though. It looks like they're going to go for it. You see the big fullback, Sean Baker.
Why would you do this? You're up. You're 7-0. Kick it.
Playing great defense as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised, especially knowing how much they value field position.
Maybe they're just trying to get TCU to jump offside. You see shifting and motions. Oh, they're going to snap it. There's a flag down. They got the 1st down. Montgomery on the carry. Let's see what the penalty is for.
I think TCU's lined up offsides, fellas.
Yeah.
Like they're in the neutral zone.
Yeah.
Offside. Defense. Number 31 was lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty results in a 1st down.
Ridwan Asalaku.
Yeah, I mean, 31 right on the end of the line of scrimmage. It looks as though he is lined up in the neutral zone. It's tough from that angle to really get a good sense of it, but surprisingly bold play call from Matt Campbell for a huge conversion.
Now they go Wildcat with David Montgomery again. They did this in the 1st quarter, and there was movement by Iowa State.
Ball start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
You could have called that at 4 offensive linemen there. but again, we talked about aggressive play calling. Iowa State and this game being called by Tom Manning, the OC, and Matt Campbell, the head coach, as if they have nothing to lose.
Yeah, all the pressure is on TCU, and that's the approach that they've had. They say, look, you know, we didn't expect to be here. We're just doing the best we can and coaching each play the way that we know how to coach. This is a very blue-collar staff that has a tremendous appreciation for the details. And it's amazing how their team has responded to their leadership over the last few weeks.
Manning was with Campbell at Toledo. They were on the same staff. Manning played for Campbell in college as a 240-pound left tackle. Remember, it was Mount Union, so that's not a shocker. But we met with Tom Manning yesterday. He's smaller than me.
You have a couple inches on him for sure.
Take a look at our Wells Fargo innovations of better. Yesterday in the Iowa State facility, Greg McElroy on the reaction board. I thought you'd do better at this. I was a little disappointed.
It wasn't bad. I did much better than the other people in the group that did not do it. We will not name them, though, and embarrass them on national television.
And here's Tom Luganville getting into Iowa State's brand new cryogenics chamber. Tom going down and came out looking like Captain America.
I love it.
I'm breathing much better, boys.
I think it's supposed to be like 200 degrees below zero.
Yeah.
Wow. That's chilly.
1st and 15. Iowa State's had to blow 2 timeouts here in the 1st half. And pass underneath Jones, slammed to the ground by Traven Howard, their leader in tackles for the 3rd straight season. So only get a couple yards back. Actually lose a couple yards. 2nd and 17.
Yeah, that is not something that Iowa State wants to do consistently. Throwing the ball sideline to sideline. With their length and the advantage that they have on the perimeter, they need to go north and south down the field. TCU, if you start going sideline to sideline, that plays right into their strength, their athleticism and speed.
Kyle Kempt at quarterback, making his 4th start. Underneath to Montgomery. And Montgomery went underneath the TCU player and gets to the 41. So about 5 yards there. Traven Howard missed the tackle. Still 3rd and long. 3rd and 12 for Iowa State. Battle for first place in the Big 12. Oklahoma State earlier on ABC beat West Virginia. So the Cowboys are 4-1. Iowa State trying to get to 4-1. If they can knock off TCU, the first game in Ames between ranked teams in 15 years. That was their only win as a ranked team against another ranked team in school history. Ball knocked away by Summers on 3rd down. Montgomery would have been well short of the 1st down. And the punt team will come on, we think. They went for it earlier on this drive, but not here.
Not on 4th and 11. No, a little different than 4th and about 1.5 yards. But another opportunity for Iowa State to play the field position game. Now, they are kicking it to one of the most explosive returners in college football, and their punter hasn't exactly been lights out today. But playing field position is huge for them.
Yeah, Downing's last punt was not good. They were trying to pin TCU inside the 10. Now this one a little bit better.
Life. Experience the power of Pacific.
Success in other sports at TCU. There's Jamie Dixon. His team won the NIT last year. Baseball, they reached the College World Series for the 4th straight year, 5 of the last 7. Also, Jamie Dixon's team beat Kansas in the Big 12 tournament last year. Iowa State won the Big 12 tournament men's basketball in 2017. Kyle Hicks is back on the field for TCU, and that's big. Hicks has missed a couple of games this year due to injury. Was a 1,000-yard rusher a year ago, and he'll get it here off the right side. Hicks out to the 23 for 5 yards. Here's Cassidy.
Thanks, Dave. Carmex Drive, what's possible update to Columbus. Number 2, Penn State. Number 6, Ohio State. Saquon Barkley doing Saquon Barkley things. Tight roping for a 36-yard score. 2nd TD of the game. Nittany Lions roaring early, up 21-3 early in the 2nd. Back to you guys.
Wow. Might be a surprise to some. You said it yesterday, though. You thought Penn State would win that game and win it easily. Here's Hill. Oh! Threw that one behind the receiver. Rager was thinking it was a go route. That pass went to the outside. DeAndre Payne almost got a pick.
Yeah, you haven't seen a lot of miscommunication between Kenny Hill and his wide receivers this year, but that time the freshman Rager thinking that it was going to be down the field and Kenny thinking it was going to be a curl. Still a 3rd and manageable for the best 3rd down offense in the land coming into the day, but they've struggled to this point.
They don't have a 3rd down conversion. But they get one here on the catch. Pulled in by Sean Nixon. He paid for it, though, upended at the 31-yard line, but that does move the sticks. Reggie Wilkerson, grad transfer from Georgia, with the hit. Got a penalty marker down. Looked like there was some movement by TCU.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 68, 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's Joseph Noteboom, the left tackle, and there's Sonny Cumbie, the offensive coordinator. Calls the plays for the Horned Frogs, and he was telling us yesterday Kenny Hill has matured so much. Everybody knows about the Trill Hill days at A&M and what happened after that and how it didn't work out there. Came to TCU last year, turned the ball over a lot. He has not made mistakes, though, this year. That's how TCU was undefeated, playing so well on offense. Hicks able to keep his feet on 1st and 15. That's an excellent run. And shoved out of bounds. Looked like it was late by Wilkerson. Hicks didn't like that.
A little extracurricular, but Kenny Hill back to what he's done over the course of his college career. He's always had the talent. Was the 5A Player of the Year in the state of Texas at South Lake Carroll. Have to mention them, being the former Dragon myself. He's done a tremendous job really taking what the offense has given him, understanding all the outlets, allowing his running backs to be the focal point, getting the ball out of his hands quickly, and not making the critical errors that have plagued him up to this point of his college career. He's playing as well as he's ever played, and I think Sonny Cumbie, the offensive coordinator, deserves an awful lot of credit for that as well.
Meanwhile, Greg, this is a potential momentum shift right here. The injured player for Iowa State is Joel Lanning. He hops to his feet here. Again, this is the player that was their starting quarterback that was told, hey, we're moving you to defense, and we're moving you to middle linebacker. He said, okay, I'm good. And that energized that entire building.
You know what, guys, too, with that is he graduated, could have transferred, could have played quarterback, and the unselfish role that he took to send a message to the rest of this roster that the future of Iowa State football is important. It's more important than him. It's changed the entire dynamic of this football team.
Yeah, you know a guy's important when the head coach walks to the opposite hash just to make sure he's okay and walks back with him to the sideline. Joel Lanning is the heart and soul of this Cyclone football team.
Big hole for Hicks on 2nd and 9. Beautiful moves, getting the first down. We talked about his importance, and you saw it on that play. Beautiful jump cuts, and it's a gain of 23.
Look at this. Sideline. Back and forth, jump cut, avoid. Hicks showing off why he was one of the best backs in the Big 12 last year.
He'll get it again. And a flag down, a couple of flags down as the tackle is made by Willie Harvey after the 2-yard pickup.
Holding. Offense, number 51. 10-yard penalty. First down.
You want lateral agility? Look no further. Look at that. The Iowa State defender almost doesn't even make contact.
It's like a jackrabbit in cleats.
And that's between the tackles, too. Kyle Hicks, I know Darius Anderson has been so impressive this year, but Kyle Hicks is still the starter. And I think all of us as college football fans have kind of forgotten just how incredible he is, not just on the run game, but in the passing game, too.
TCU's offense, guys, going backwards. That's 6 penalties now. They hand it off to Darius Anderson. He almost got all of it back on that one play. 16 yards to the 39-yard line for Darius Anderson, leading rusher this year. He had over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in the win against Oklahoma State. He's going to get hit, though, in the backfield and spilled at the 42 by J.D. Wagner. 3rd down.
Just when you start to think TCU is going to get it going, they take a step back, whether it be with a first down penalty or a tackle for loss on 2nd down after a really nice gain. This offense has had a real difficult time establishing any rhythm to this point.
Expect a short underneath passing game here.
Instead, it's a quarterback draw. His yardage again. Marcel Spears is there.
And you'll see just pulling for the edge. And they just completely don't account for Spears. Look at number 70, Iwagwu. His head was down. He loses sight of number 42, Spears, and it results in an easy tackle for a loss. The numbers were good. Everything was fine for TCU. Just really poorly executed by their offensive line that has been so improved throughout the first 7 games of this season.
Nunez to punt, looking to pin Iowa State inside the 20. And I think that hit a TCU player in the helmet, goes out of bounds at the 12-yard line.
It hit Vernon Scott, guys, right on the helmet there at about the 19.
You can almost feel, guys, even though Joel Lanning was out of the game those last 2 plays, his spirit was still on the field with those tackles for a loss. Iowa State getting all the breaks here in the first half. TCU undefeated and ranked number 4 in the country But down 7-0, Kenny Hill has been ineffective compared to his counterpart, Kyle Kemp. He's thrown for over 100 yards and a touchdown here in the first half. Iowa State getting the ball where it went off the helmet of Scott at the 18. And Kemp throwing it downfield into traffic, and it's knocked away by the receiver, Murdoch, breaking up what would have been an interception by Markel Simmons.
Wow, Simmons is going to want to make a play on this, and would 9 times out of 10. But a good job, obviously, by Murdoch, putting his arms up and breaking up the pass. Playing a little defense by the wide receiver. Missed opportunity there for Simmons and this TCU defense.
We talk again about Iowa State doing all the little things. That's it right there. Smart play by Murdoch, a senior. Recognize that, hey, that's going to get picked and break it up. Montgomery getting the call. He gets thumped at the 20 by Collier. Here's Cassidy in the studio.
Thanks, Dave. NC State Notre Dame in a battle in South Bend. Ryan Finley, watch this grab, finds Kelvin Harmon. Great left-handed one-arm grab. Irish just responded. It's tied at 14 in the second. Back to you guys.
NC State's only loss of the season, the opener against South Carolina. Notre Dame's only loss at home against Georgia. So both teams still in the playoff mix with the rankings coming out Tuesday. Kemp hit as he throws. Incomplete. And a flag down at the 31. But Kemp is down. Ty Summers hit him.
Pass interference. Defense number 11. Ball's placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
They're not shy at going at Tejada. That's 5 or 6 times as you watch the hit by Summers on Kemp.
How about the toughness by Kemp, knowing that he's staring down the barrel of a loaded gun, taking the hit and throwing it up to at least try to give his 6'5" wide receiver a chance. And you see all the contact in the world. That's an easy call for the official and a big first down for Iowa State.
Kemp will hand it off to David Montgomery with 28 rushes last week. The ball may hit the ground there, but it was recovered by Iowa State.
Greg, Dave, just looking at this matchup with Tejada and Alan Lazard, this is the first time you see Lazard at the bottom of your screen that they haven't actually matched up 11 with 5. So now they got a bigger body here towards the field versus number 5. That matchup they've gone to an awful lot here in the first half.
Yeah, you can see that matchup that Luke is referring to down here with Gladney, who's 1.5 inches taller than Tejada.
Pulled in for a first down to the 45-yard line by Marchie Murdoch. Gain of 13 for Iowa State near midfield now.
Might feel like TCU had the perfect call there, and they did. They had a guy dropping right underneath the curl. Good throw.
Kemp throwing it downfield, got a man! Incomplete! Run for Murdoch again, just overthrow him. That might have been 6.
Oh, man, this is one that Kemp is going to want to have back. You can see Tejada falling for the little stutter go as Murdoch released inside and had nothing but green grass in front of him. Just a little bit more air underneath it, and that's likely a touchdown for Kemp and the Clones.
What's the adjustment for TCU if there is one, because Tejada's really struggling?
They've done a good job stopping the run. They need to get these safeties now involved in the downfield pass game.
Iowa State running it. Montgomery slipping tackles and able to keep his balance. Montgomery still going. Look at this guy. Won't be denied. Picks up 14 earned rushing yards.
Wow, that was such a great run. Spinning, breaking tackles, breaking to the outside, finishing. That run checked all the boxes.
Second leading rusher in the Big 12. Ty Summers says, you're not getting out of there this time. Trips him up at the 35, a 3-yard run.
And Greg, it's runs like that are not going to allow TCU to back the safeties off and get them involved in the passing game, because they're going to want to cheat up an extra defender in the box if Iowa State's able to hand the ball off and run the football as they desire, which puts more pressure on those perimeter players versus these big, long targets.
Nobody has forced more missed tackles than David Montgomery, a sophomore from Cincinnati, for Iowa State. On 2nd and 7, here's Kemp to the air, going to take another shot at Tejada. It's caught inside the 10. Lazard, 1st and goal, Iowa State.
It's got to be so demoralizing for a corner. You're in good position. You time the jump right, and you just have a 6'5" target that brings it in.
Montgomery knocked down Bradley on the tackle on Sheldon Croney, who got the call that time on 1st and goal for the 5. So he gets a yard.
How about the ball placement, Greg? I mean, that time he did exactly what he needed to do, up high to the outside and get the shoulders square and go up for Allen Lazard.
They love those matchups on the perimeter, but this is where TCU gets really good. Outstanding red zone team defensively.
And Montgomery back in at running back here for 2nd and goal. Kemp will throw, fade pattern, overthrown. Why not? You got a guy 6'6" and Hakeem Butler. Throw it up there, but TCU had 2 guys defending. Butler looked to the sideline as if to say, do it again. I want another shot.
Yeah. Don't ask for it again, young man. You had double coverage there. Not the best decision from Kemp. But right here, you have to try to identify the best matchup that you have on the field. And to this point, the best matchup has been with number 5 at the top, Allen Lazard against Ranthony Tejada.
3rd and goal from inside the 5-yard line. Kemp, end zone, and it's caught by Butler. Is he in? Yes, he is. Touchdown, Cyclone. The big guy said, give it to me again. I'll come through. And he did. 13-0.
See if he caught the ball, secured the catch, and got a foot down. The foot is down clearly. That ball doesn't budge.
What a catch.
That foot. Yep, it looks as though that toe is down with little room to spare.
Plays under review.
Of course, every touchdown is reviewed by this Big 12 officiating crew.
It's hard to tell from that angle whether the right foot is in or out, but again, because on the field it's ruled a touchdown, has to be indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt to overturn it. This may give us a better look, and hard to tell with certainty, and that's the key.
Right,
you can't tell.
No, you can't. Like you said, it has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn. I don't know if you can confirm that he got that toe down in bounds with room to spare, but certainly isn't enough to overturn the call. This should stand. And Iowa State makes another huge play in the passing game to give them another touchdown.
And how about this story? Hakeem Butler, rough childhood. His mother passed away from cancer when he was young, so he was taken in by the Harrison family. Now, Andrew and Aaron Harrison, both basketball players at Kentucky. Andrew now in the NBA with Memphis, so that's the home that Hakeem Butler grew up in. And after the passing of his mother, he's now a sophomore at Iowa State, and he just gave him a big score.
And of course, they're taking a long look at this. I would think that this is going to stand for the Clones.
After reviewing the play, ruling on the field, stands as called. Touchdown.
I just love the fact Butler was looking to the sideline after the first fade like, feed me again. Against these smaller DBs.
That was a great throw by Kyle Kemp, too. Back shoulder high where his 6'6" receiver could catch it. That's tough to cover, even on Sundays.
And it's 14-0 Iowa State with 3:29 to go in the half.
Going up against one of the best red zone defenses in the country, the Cyclones say bring it on. Butler from Kemp, one toe down, and a 14-point lead for Campbell.
Welcome back to ABC Saturday Afternoon College Football, presented by K Jewelers. This place is jumping right now. 14-0 Iowa State. Homecoming against the number 4 team in the country. Chris Francis kicking off. TCU with all of its timeouts. 3.5 to play here in the first half. Cavante Turpin from the goal line. And Turpin turning it upfield. Wow, he just totally juked a defender past the 30-yard line.
We told you at the beginning of the game that Iowa State's length at wide receiver is about as impressive as anybody in college football. Lazard on the first catch, 6'5". Butler on the second catch, 6'6". This is a very long wide receiver core, and TCU's secondary, albeit extremely athletic, great from a coverage standpoint. When they're covering smaller guys, they've had their hands full against this length. They have to make some adjustments defensively because they have had no answer for the back shoulder fade and the jump balls down the field for the Clones.
It was just 3 weeks ago, Iowa State knocked off a top 5 team on the road for the first time in school history. Now they're leading a top 5 team at home, but TCU comes back with a throw to Jalen Austin to the 44-yard line. Let's go back to the fade pattern after second down. Watch Butler. It's as if, I'm not sure exactly, but I think he said, hit me again.
Let me go. Let me go. Let me have it.
I've got the height advantage. Here's Hill leaving the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, and the ball dropped by John Diaz. That looked like a good throw by Hill, but he couldn't hang on. Second down.
It's one of those days on offense right now for TCU. Even when they've got something, just every little thing hasn't quite fit into place like it has to this point in the season. When you're on the road, the crowd's bumping, weather's chilly, and the momentum's on one sideline. All you need is one play sometimes.
Hill's pass incomplete. Intended for Jalen Austin. DeAndre Payne made a couple big plays here. Now they got TCU in 3rd and 10.
This is a critical down and distance for TCU. To this point of the game, they are 1 for 5 on 3rd down, and a majority of their 3rd down attempts have been from distance. Here they are, 3rd and 10, trying to find a matchup underneath and break a tackle.
And Greg, Joe Lanning is back out there for Iowa State. And I think the Cyclones are trying to call timeout there. And it looks like they got it before the snap.
Timeout. Iowa State, their 3rd and final of the half. 30-second timeout.
You know, Taco Bell is a proud partner of the College Football Playoff. Be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these at games all season long. One of the biggest home games, one of the biggest games ever for Iowa State. And if the Cyclones win, they'll be tied for first place with TCU, Oklahoma State, and maybe Oklahoma, which plays Texas Tech tonight. Plus, Iowa State will be bowl eligible for the first time in 5 years. Long way to go, though. TCU's been very good this year. But offensively, unable to get anything going in this game. They haven't been shut out in the first half this season.
They've had a real tough time staying out of their own way. I mean, they've had penalties on first down that have set them behind the sticks. They've been bad on 3rd down. They've had near misses in the passing game, and they've had big runs called back. Still plenty of time left, obviously, in this half to get it turned around. But Kenny Hill, he's a more mature player this year. There's no denying that. This would be a good opportunity to get on schedule by hitting one of his wide receivers in stride. See if they can't pick up a big first down. One thing we haven't seen, guys, is the screen game for TCU. Here on a 3rd and long situation, this might be where it'll reveal itself.
Although they sent Hicks out of the backfield in motion. So an empty set for Hill on 3rd and 10. Hill looking downfield, and a receiver comes free. It's caught by Jalen Austin for the first down. to the 36-yard line of Iowa State. A big pickup for the Horned Frogs, 21 yards.
That right there, Greg, is why you probably haven't seen much screenage. It's just so much zone in the back end with the eyes in the backfield.
Here's Hicks. That hole closed quickly. He tried to cut it back, and J.D. Wagner making the hit. TCU with all of its timeouts remaining.
Yeah, and you look at Iowa State defensively, they're really triggering on some of those run action fakes in the backfield. Those safeties are very tuned in to what these two running backs are capable of. Could be time here in the next play or two to hit a big play action pass down the field.
Wide receiver screen to Desmond White. How about the play by Cotton Moya? Second team all Big 12 safety a year ago. No gain. Third and long again for TCU.
So difficult to continue picking up third downs and converting on third downs when it's 10, 9, 10, 13. The inefficiencies on first and second down have really plagued this Horned Frog offense to this point.
Iowa State's only been rushing 3. Here they rush 3 again, and the pass behind Hicks, incomplete. As he got whacked by Brian Peavy as the ball arrived. It's fourth down, TCU, as yet to get the offense on the field. It would be about a 52-yard field goal from here, which is way too long for Jonathan Song, whose season long is 39. So TCU's going to punt it.
I'll tell you, Greg, TCU has been converting at a staggering 56% of its third downs, and today first and second down has completely altered that and put them in the position they're in right now.
And Nunez with just an awful punt. Be a touchback. And Iowa State will start on the 20. Tomorrow morning, kickoff your Week 8 with Sunday NFL Countdown at 10 Eastern on ESPN with Sam Ponder and company. Randy Moss ranks the best catches from this weekend's college football action, and you got mossed. Countdown also streaming live in the ESPN app. Iowa State with no timeouts, but leading 14-0. We mentioned TCU not shut out in the first half this year. Got to go all the way back to week 2 of last year. Against Arkansas, they lost that game in double overtime. They won only 6 games last year, TCU. But 7-0 this year. They were picked 5th in the Big 12. Iowa State was picked 9th. And here they are, end of October, battling for first place. David Montgomery getting the call. See if TCU uses its timeouts here. Nope, not on first down.
I'm surprised they wouldn't. Their offense has had a real difficult time establishing any rhythm. If anything, you call timeout, you force a punt, and you have one of the best return men in college football in Cavante Turpin back there receiving it. Maybe he breaks a big run and give your offense a chance to establish some rhythm and steal some points. Very surprised that Gary Patterson is opting to play it conservatively.
You see Iowa State just taking the clock down around 5 seconds before snapping it. Here comes a flag that'll stop the clock as Montgomery, I think Gary Patterson was going to call a timeout anyway, but he'll get the stoppage here because of the penalty flag.
Personal foul, illegal hands to the face, defense,
wow.
Number 90, 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
Maybe he won't use his timeout because that's going to put the ball near the 40-yard line. Ross Blacklock, big mistake there. And Gary Patterson saying, I don't want a timeout here. 7th penalty by the Horned Frogs.
Fellas, to make matters worse, too, is Iowa State's only allowed 17 combined second half points versus Big 12 opponents, even though TCU gets the ball coming out of half.
That's a great point. Iowa State's been as good in the second half defensively as any team in the country this year. Boy, surprised Iowa State not snapping the ball quicker now that you're out near the 40. And they run it with no room for Montgomery. And it looks like Iowa State content to take a 14-0 lead into the locker room. A little extracurricular activity. Chris Bradley of TCU shouting at the Iowa State offensive lineman. I don't know if you want Bama, but you'll take this. This is good if you're a Cyclones.
It's a good start. Long way to go.
And when we return, Kevin Agani, Matt Brown, Booger McFarland, the Capital One halftime report after this message, a word from our ABC stations.
Welcome to the Capital One halftime report.
Great slate of 3:30 games. Let's start with Penn State, number 2 in the land. At number 6, Ohio State, the shoe. Opening kickoff. Say what? Saquon. Are you kidding me? 97 yards to the house.
Big games, you got to win kicking game. They've had a 97-yard touchdown, also a 59-yard return to set up another one.
Who coaches special teams at Ohio State?
I'm not sure anybody does that.
Yeah. Later on, Barkley breaking free, and this is what he does. 26, just every time he touches the ball, hold your breath.
Just natural talent. The offensive line is really not blocking that well, but when there's no hole, he will make a hole and tiptoeing like a ballerina.
Incredible with that size. 15 straight game with a touchdown. Longest active streak in the FBS. It's 21-3, but here comes Ohio State with the ground attack.
They got to run the football. They're running with J.T. Barrett, with Dobbins, Weber. Everyone is running the ball.
Right
now,
now,
a great second half.
Yeah, it really is. 28
this
to
is
17.
a good one. This is a football game.
By the way, most points an Urban Meyer team has given up in the first half at 28. So that was one of those games you're going, oh my goodness, what's going on? Kevin Agani here, Matt Brown and Booger McFarland, and let's go. Here's another one of those games. South Bend, Notre Dame hosting NC State. NC State 6-1. Irish punting here, and the Wolfpack with the block, and they recover with the touchdown.
Easiest touchdown they ever get this season.
Brandon Wimbush, a lot of questions about whether he can throw. That's perfect.
That looks phenomenal right there. If he can do that, Notre Dame is a national championship contender.
But Ryan Finley, he's so stable in the pocket, Mac. How about that pass?
They've done a good job, but right now Notre Dame is controlling both lines of scrimmage. They've given up the kicking game, but they're running the ball well. I still think Notre Dame pulls this one out the second half.
You predicted it. We're seeing Wimbush on the ground there for the touchdown. And once again, in the air, 11 yards on the fade. That's Booger's call. Right now, it's the Irish up 21-14.
Loves the fade. I think he just never got to run it. That's why he's mad.
The greatest outdoor party. Undefeated Georgia taking on Florida. And Nick Chubb, first quarter up the middle, and this is one of those games when this happened, you're like, good luck, Florida scoring points.
I mean, he broke 5 tackles. The strength of the Gator team used to be their defense. That was very soft defense by the Gators.
Jake Fromm, the Javon Wims, he'll win that battle. Another fade there, Booger.
Yeah, the fade seems popular today, Matt.
Yeah, you said every week it's popular, except with you.
So you see Chubb and then you see Michelle. I mean, 8 offensive plays, they had 21 points.
Yeah, Florida needed to get out in front in this game to have some confidence, and Georgia jumped all over them, so they're in trouble because they're not a come-from-behind team because of young quarterbacks.
Dogs in control. Game some of you are watching. It is undefeated TCU taking on Iowa State. First time Iowa State is ranked and playing a game in 12 years. And how about Kyle Kemp?
Well, this can happen, but the story's Kyle Kemp. The guy's thrown for 166 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenny Hill, only 62 yards, no touchdowns.
Kemp, the 5th-year senior, the walk-on, undefeated since becoming a starter. And, our group also watching this game, too. It's Washington up 20-9 over UCLA. And Michigan State, they got Penn State next on the schedule. Looking ahead here.
Love the Wildcats. Northwestern fighting hard, baby.
They can beat you. They can beat you at their place for sure.
Later on, we had some action in Morgantown, ton of points, and the Canes in some trouble in Chapel Hill. Highlights ahead.
Time now for a Heisman flashback presented by Nissan. In 1988, Barry Sanders' dynamic running style led him to one of the best individual seasons in college football history. This cowboy rushed for over 2,600 yards and scored 39 touchdowns on his way to breaking 25 NCAA records and becoming the only player in school history to win the Heisman Trophy. Visit NissanHeismanHouse.com to cast your vote. This is the Capital One Halftime Report.
Welcome back to the studio. Kevin Nagani, Mac Brown, and Booger McFarland. We have a great slate of 3:30 games, but pretty good ones starting at noon. Of course, high-octane offense. And let's go to West Virginia, hosting Oklahoma State. Early in the second half, Cowboys up 13. Mason Rudolph to J.D. King, 6 yards. Cowboys up by 20.
Love the patience by Mason Rudolph. Went to his third or fourth receiver, touchdown.
Trouble here. Rudolph picked off by Kenny Robinson, and Robinson sees a ton of real estate in Morgantown. Bye-bye. Mountaineers now within 6 early in the fourth. Justice Hill from 5 yards. This is one of those grind-out games. I know when you look at the score, but Oklahoma State was tested.
They were tested. Justice Hill, one of the more underrated running backs in the country, man.
Yeah, and Oklahoma State ran for 246 yards, and Will Greer, unlike himself, threw for 4 interceptions.
Really long day for Greer. It's the Cowboys who win 50-39. Rudolph responsible for 91 career touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns today, 77 in his career, a new Oklahoma State record. Bedlam next week in Stillwater. Meanwhile, Miami coming in undefeated on the road in Chapel Hill. They've had some great thrillers of late the last 3 games. Malik Rozier to Jeff Thomas, 78 yards. Longest touchdown of the season for the Canes. It's 14-6. This was a struggle. Miami in the red zone. Rozier to Braxton Berrios, touchdown, 24-13.
Took them a while to get going. They switched quarterbacks, but in the end, Rozier delivered the money.
Mac, this is a heartbreaker. You won 1 game all season. North Carolina has the football with under 3 to play, and they fumble.
What happens when you're losing? You learn to lose, and it's really tough. Miami's got to run the ball better, though. They just rushed for 59 yards.
12 straight wins for the Canes. They survive. Virginia Tech is next. Wisconsin undefeated on the road, taking on Illinois. Up the middle here, it's Garrett Groshek. Badgers up 14-0. And then, how about some love in the fourth quarter? 17-3. Let's find the left tackle, Michael Dieter.
Booger!
Oh, no, I was faster than that. Go, big fella. Go, big fella.
Badgers win. Reaction.
Oh, I should have spiked it.
I was super nervous. My legs were mushy. I was nervous I was just going to fall down. I've never touched a football in a football game other than in center, but that doesn't really count. But I was just super nervous, but I had the whole offensive line out in front of me. There's no way I wasn't getting in.
That no doubt deserves a Capital One fan vote, and that is Dieter, listed at 6'6", 328, trying to put his team closer to the top 4. His first touchdown of his career. Badgers 8-0 since first time they've started this way since 2004.
But he's got to act like he's been there before. Be an athlete.
He was surprised and shocked that he caught it.
But you can't act surprised. Act like you've been there.
He'll be in there wanting to be a tight end. That's big.
Brandon Peters has never been there. And how about the redshirt freshman in the high recruit, the ineffective John O'Korn on the bench for Michigan, taking on Rutgers. And he finds Chris Evans, and Michigan wins 35-14. Meanwhile, winless Baylor taking on Texas. Less than a minute into the game, Zach Smith picked off. Deshaun Elliott's going to get his name in the paper.
Todd Orlando's defense continues to dominate people in the Big 12. Held Baylor to 31 rushing yards and had a defensive score.
Shane Buechele in this offense, the quarterback gets a ton of reps to run the football.
No doubt. Tom Herman, going back to his days at Houston with Greg Roy, he wants to run the quarterback. Shane Buechele fits that mold.
Back in the lineup for him on the field, and Texas wins this one 38-7, back at the 500 mark as Baylor remains winless. Arkansas Ole Miss. This one was a wild one. Ole Miss at one point was up 31-7 just before the half. Cole Kelly to Deion Stewart, and now Arkansas within 10. Brett Bielema still looking for his first SEC win. Oh no, Ole Miss up by 9, trying to run the clock out, and they fumble. So Arkansas's within 2.
We'll give Arkansas a lot of credit to come back from 31-7 to win this football game.
Ton of credit to Connor Lippert. 4 seconds left, 34 yards out. He kicks it. He hit 4 field goals, only counted for 1. They tried to freeze him, and it's Arkansas with the comeback.
He just had practice.
Let's take a look at Quadri Henderson as he led Pitt to victory versus Virginia with driving success, brought to you by Honda. Henderson's 75-yard punt return touchdown extended the Panthers' lead. They never looked back, eventually winning 31-14. Glance at the slate of games later tonight right here on ABC. You'll see either Georgia Tech at Clemson or Texas Tech at Oklahoma. And late on ESPN, USC versus Arizona State. Enjoy your second half after this message and a word from your ABC station.
Welcome back to Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
Can Iowa State do it again? 3 weeks ago, they knocked off Oklahoma in Norman, beating a top 5 team on the road for the first time in school history. And they have TCU down 14 points. Kyle Kemp, who made his first career start as a fifth-year senior, walk-on in Norman. He's unbeaten, trying to get to 4-0. TCU will get the ball first here in the third quarter. Cavante Turpin from the 6-yard line. He's been quiet so far in this one, but here he goes. Turpin at the 40. Foot race is on, and it's no contest. Turpin all the way. Touchdown, TCU. A 90-yard punt return for a score last week. This is a kick return, 95 yards.
What a way to start the second half for the Horned Frogs. Turpin hesitating, and then you could see there is no chance of bringing him down once he makes that second cut. The kicker tried. He turned him around from 10 yards away, and it was nothing but wide open spaces in front of Turpin, and he accelerates for a huge play for this Horned Frog team that struggled so mightily throughout the course of the first 2 quarters.
Think about it, Greg. Iowa State, they let the fans go back to tailgate at halftime. They let them leave the stadium, come back in. They're all jacked up. They're up 14-0 on number 4. And in 12 seconds, the place goes dead silent because of that guy.
You could see. I mean, look at how he sets up the blocks, and then look at how quick and sudden that last juke was. There was only one defender in front of him, and it was the kicker, and he had absolutely no chance. Right here. Gone. And there is no catching Cavante Turpin. He is one of the most electric players in college football. Has dealt with some adversity over the course of his career. Missed a lot of time last year. But he's having a heck of a season here for the Horned Frogs, and he breaks through for a big touchdown to seize momentum at the start of the second half.
He basically missed half of last season because of injury. 3 career punt returns for a touchdown now, a kickoff return for a touchdown, and Cavante Turpin has scored 5 different ways this year. Rushing touchdown, receiving touchdown, punt return, kickoff return, and a touchdown pass by Turpin. Now Akers will get a turn. He didn't have the speed of Turpin. And he's stacked up at the 23-yard line. So we're going to come on and talk about, okay, how does TCU adjust and get momentum back? Well, they don't need to worry about it. They got momentum with that big play by Turpin.
Yeah, they did. And obviously that's an area where Iowa State has really been outstanding over the last 3 games. Special teams and little things, both of which go awry early because of the speed and the athleticism that TCU has. Clearly they came out, they had a talking to. Gary Patterson, very frustrated with the way things went in the first half and their inability to consistently execute. They're off to a great start here, and let's see if their defense can step up to the challenge after really being exposed for their lack of size throughout the course of the first 30 minutes.
You make a great point about doing the little things. I mean, they don't fumble the ball ever. They haven't lost a fumble this year, one of only 2 schools. They're one of the least penalized teams in the country. Montgomery tripped up and then brought down to the 31. Again, fighting for extra yardage, picks up 8. There's an injured Iowa State player back at the 20, one of the offensive linemen, right tackle Bryce Meeker. But Iowa State goes from doing everything right in the first half to making a big mistake to start the third quarter. 14-7 Cyclones. Back in Ames, we look at our Pacific Life game summary. 2 first-half touchdown passes by Kyle Kemp, giving him 9 on the season against just 1 interception. He spread the ball around, including that touchdown pass to Hakeem Butler. But then starting the third quarter, the opening kickoff, Cavante Turpin, 94-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. He scored touchdowns in 5 different ways this year for TCU. And this place is silent now. Long throw. Ryan on the catch, gets a block and picks up the first down. Murdoch with a nice block there to spring Trevor Ryan. Move the chain.
This is a drive, too, for Iowa State that really tests your maturity. Everything went your way in the first half. Played very well on offense and on defense. First thing that happens in the second half is a punch right to the gut. How does this offense respond given the way TCU started the second half?
Montgomery straight ahead. Brought down to the 37 by Traven Howard. And when we asked Matt Campbell, the Iowa State head coach, how did you do it? How did you beat Oklahoma? How did you win 3 straight? He said, it's all about our seniors. It's these guys. And I know it's so cliche, but it is true. They don't get too high, don't get too low. Every day is the same. And the players set that tone here in Ames. There's been so much hype about this maybe being the biggest home game ever. Yeah, they beat number 2 Oklahoma State back in 2011, but Iowa State was unranked then. Single coverage. Murdoch on the back shoulder. Can't pull it in. Jeff Gladney in coverage.
One of the few times you've seen a deep ball for Iowa State fall incomplete. Trying to find Murdoch, who is not the biggest target for this Iowa State team. He's working against Gladney, number 12, who's one of the biggest corners that TCU has. The ball gets into Murdoch's chest, and he's unable to bring it down. That's a play you got to make if you're trying to pull a huge upset.
Iowa State 3 of 7 on third down, but this is 3rd and long. Pressure off the edge. Kemp gets smoked by Matt Boson. Boy, Jake Campbell's the left tackle looking to the sideline. Mental error there.
Yeah, so what a start right here. Just right off the edge. Campos doesn't even have a chance to get out of his stance. I mean, look how quickly Boson runs right around him and hits Kemp for the sack. A few mistakes early for Iowa State. Not being able to get out of their stance, had an injury to their right tackle, give up a big kickoff return. Hasn't been the start that Matt Campbell and his coaching staff envisioned.
And Downing trying to keep it away from Kevontae Turpin, and it's a poor punt. Only 31 yards.
College football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers, is brought to you by Genesis.
This TCU offense is all about timing. And right now, Iowa State has opted to go with a 3-man rush. That's what they've done throughout the entire first half. And they've found different ways of getting to it. In this particular case, they have 2 guys walked up over the guards trying to get isolations. They put some speed on the perimeter. And Kenny Hill just hasn't been able to find his receivers in the same level of timing and rhythm that we usually see. He's been a little off the mark. Let's see if he can dial in.
They hand it off Kyle Hicks. And Hicks brought down to the 46-yard line. Good tackle by Payne. Hicks so dangerous in the open field. Gets 5 yards on first down.
Now, defensively, Iowa State, talking to Matt Campbell before this third quarter, he didn't feel like he was pleased with the tackling for defense in Iowa State. I disagree. I think they've tackled very well in keeping the ball in front of them and haven't given up any explosive plays.
Well, TCU on pace only for 300 yards of offense. The one explosive play they gave up was on special teams. Hicks trying to fight for yardage, stood up by Cotton Moya, and Spears at the 48, about 2.5 yards shy of a first down. Big third down for TCU, which is number 1 in the country coming into today in third down conversions, but just 2 of 7 in this game. As they lose 3 yards.
Oh, Kenny Hill looking at the defense and being surprised by the snap. If you look at his face mask, he was actually surveying where they were going to be and what holes he might have in the secondary, and that snap came, and it looked like he was a little surprised by it. Now everybody else got off on the right time. Kenny Hill has to fall on it. As a result, the Frogs are punting.
Schloten in the center. And that's a good punt, and the fair catch made by Lazard around the 10, 45-yard punt. No return. Allstate is proud to be part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. Iowa State backed up on its 11-yard line. Kyle Kemp has been solid today at quarterback for Iowa State. 2 touchdowns, 169 yards through the air. He'll throw it on first down. And he takes a shot down the field for Lazard, and it is, looks like it's picked off. No, they say it is picked off by Gladney, who read that beautifully, defending Alan Lazard.
They're going to call it off here, Dave.
Yeah, in fact, an official, the field judge just came in and said it's incomplete. TCU is celebrating.
On the field is the defensive player came down on top of another player and then first contacted out of bounds. Incomplete pass. The play is under review.
Wow. Look at Gladney, and they have determined
that foot's down, Greg,
that the foot is down. But it looks to me as though his body fell down in bounds. It's tough to tell. That foot is definitely in. And that's the first contact.
And then looks like his leg's down there too.
And they want to make sure, of course, that he has possession of the football. That's the first thing that you have to look at. Does the ball move? It's okay to move a little bit, but does Gladney have possession of it, and does he maintain possession of it as he follows through onto the ground?
That left foot is definitely in bounds.
Gary Brown is the replay official. TCU's offense is already making its way onto the field. Assuming this is going to get overturned, this would just be the second pick thrown by Kyle Kemp all season. So you got a team that has not made mistakes really all year. And in the first 5 minutes of the second half, they've given up a kickoff return for a touchdown, and now likely an interception.
And of course, the ruling on the field being an incomplete pass, you have to have indisputable video evidence to overturn. And based on the angles that we've seen, I think overturned. And it's going to be called an interception by Gladney down the left sideline. It looked like that ball didn't move. He had possession of it. Let's see what the officials see.
They targeted the wrong guy. They were going to Tejada in the first half. Gladney's made a couple plays in the second half.
The defender gets firm control with a foot in bounds. It is an interception. The ball will be placed at the 43-yard line. First down, TCU. Please set the game clock. 10 minutes, 28 seconds.
And Gladney was on Lazard that time. It was Tejada covering Lazard most of that first half. And so the interception gives TCU the ball at the 43-yard line of Iowa State, with a chance to tie the game on this possession.
And that is a huge play from the TCU defense. Given the fact that they struggled so much against the deep ball, now they've made the adjustment. They changed their personnel. And the corner, Gladney, after getting assigned to Lazard, makes a huge play to give the Frogs great field position.
Kyle Hicks running the ball. Here comes a penalty marker. And a 4. And TCU just killing itself with penalties. 7 for 66 yards. Let's see what this call is about.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense. Number 76. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. Automatic first down.
Ray Lima. And again, you don't normally see Iowa State make these kinds of mistakes. That's a huge foul by Lima, putting the ball at the 24-yard line.
And the second time they've called hands to the face on the Clones defense. A huge penalty. TCU has all the momentum right now. Right on the heels of the red zone.
comes a reverse to true freshman Jalen Rager. Read beautifully by Iowa State. McEnroe Alexander transfer from Auburn is there for the Cyclones D.
This is such a great play by McEnroe Alexander. I don't know how he makes it because he has left tackle, note move, right on top of him. And he just slides underneath it and makes the tackle sitting down on the ground. That's just a tremendous effort and somewhat fortuitous for Alexander as he brings down Rager.
Gain of 1. Out of the pistol. Kenny Hill will throw. Has time and dumps it off to Hicks. Hicks knocked out of bounds hard, close to the line to gain. They'll spot him short by a yard. It'll be 3rd down for TCU. Matt Campbell told Tom Ludengo at halftime, we know there's going to be adversity at some point. Maybe he didn't think it would happen this soon, but here it is. 3rd and 1 on the 15.
And potential 4-down territory, I think, too, for TCU. You have so much momentum. Everything that you've done so far in this half has gone right. So even if you're short here by using the Wildcat, it's a possibility of going for it again on the next down.
Yeah, Darius Anderson gets the direct snap. He's got a couple of big guys blocking for him, and he got the 1st down to the 10. They brought in a couple extra tight ends. Ran right behind him on the direct snap.
That play right there was all because Kenny Hill was smart on 2nd down. At 2nd and 9, after a nice play by Alexander on 1st down on the reverse, he decides to check it down. Old Kenny Hill would have tried to throw it, get it all back on 2nd down. He checks it down. They gain 8. You can run it on 3rd and 1. It's exactly what they do, and Anderson picks up a huge 1st down.
Hicks pushing the pile. They blow it dead. That's a great point. I'll go back to what you said about Kenny Hill, because remember at Texas A&M it was Kenny Trill, and he got in trouble there, got suspended, eventually transferred, and last year made a lot of mistakes, but they've talked a lot about his maturity, and he's even said, look, when I was at A&M, I just wanted the game to get over with so I could figure out what I was doing after the game. But even he has acknowledged his mistakes and how he's matured. Meanwhile, Iowa State has a 12th player on the field is Everett Edwards was trying to get off the field and just fell down to the ground.
Yeah, that was the strangest thing. Edwards was running off the field, and all of a sudden he goes down. And it was as if he didn't think he could get there, drops to the ground, and now he's stretching out a cramp. That was really unusual.
The coaches, guys, over here on the TCU sideline, they're saying he's offsides. They want a penalty called on him.
Yeah, look at it. He's running on fine. No problem. No problem. Looking back. Hang on. Go back. Wait. Oh, no. Cramp as he tried to change directions.
Well, I think he thought they had 11 already on the field, or 12, and that's why he ran off, it looked like. But they actually only had 11. Let's go to Cassidy in the studio.
Thanks, Dave. Let's check in on Georgia and Florida. And Sonny Michel running like a fine wine at the cocktail party with a 45-yard score here to add to a 74-yard score. He's averaging almost 23 yards a carry. Bulldogs up 28-0. Back to you guys.
And Georgia just pouring it on against Florida. And the Bulldogs, be interesting with the rankings coming out Tuesday, with TCU can bounce back and win this game in a close game, and Georgia winning in a blowout. Penn State was up big on Ohio State. Interesting to see how the first rankings position the top 4.
Yeah, and it's always fascinating. Remember, I mean, last year Texas A&M was ranked number 4 in the initial rankings from the committee. So they're bound to throw us a curveball, I would imagine, when they're released on Tuesday night.
TCU has a lot of work to do, though. Down 14-7, but in position here to maybe tie the game. 2nd and 6. Hill off play action. Lobs it in the air. Incomplete. Well, Jamal Johnson, I think, impacted that play because off play action, he was right there in the backfield in the face of Hill, who tried to hit Cole Hunt and overthrow him.
Oh, there's no doubt. Just poor play up front by the center, Schlotman. Overstepped that gap and allowed the free rusher here. If I'm TCU, I'm going to get the ball out on the perimeter to Turpin, who's lined up at number 3 in the slot.
And there it is. Instead, it's a pick. Intercepted on the 1-yard line by Peavy, who's taking it back. He's got help from teammates. Kenny Hill to beat. Peavy tracked down from behind by Turpin at the 30-yard line. And the Clones have momentum back.
See Turpin on the left side of your screen. He's just running an out route. And Kenny Hill completely misses the throw way inside, right into the waiting hands of Peavy, and he has nothing but green grass in front. Just an inaccurate throw going to the correct place. Good decision from Kenny Hill, just inaccurate with the execution. And Iowa State's defense comes up huge again. What a play.
First pick in the last 116 pass attempts, only the fourth on the year for Hill. A 70-yard return on the interception, and Iowa State at the 30-yard line of TCU. Kemp, off-play action, stepping up, and now running. And gets down wisely as Ranthony Tejada was coming in to drill him at the 29-yard line.
Iowa State trying to capitalize on that momentum by trying to take a shot downfield. Good job by Kyle Kemp, not forcing it, seeing some opening on the left-hand side and trying to get what he can, which was only one.
He threw an interception on his last possession. TCU was looking to tie the ball game, but Kenny Hill picked off on the goal line. See Montgomery shifting into the backfield for 2nd and 9. He'll get it, but there's no room. Grab at the ankles. Ty Summers, who's played a great ball game here today, holding on for dear life. It's a loss on the play, so 3rd and about 10 here. And the season long for Garrett Owens, the kicker, is 42 yards. So I don't know if they're in his range yet. He did spend 4 years at Oregon State. We saw him making 50-yarders in warm-ups, but not yet in a game this year.
Yeah, if you're the quarterback, be smart in this situation, understanding what you need for a potential field goal opportunity, or to at least make it 4 down. Don't have to get it all right here if you're thinking 4 down.
Penalty marker down, maybe a free play, and Kemp throws it right to TCU, picked off by Isahaku. And Isahaku is going to take it inside the 30-yard line, and he will score. Matt Golson appeared to be offside for TCU.
Offside. Defense, number 9 was in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
What a mistake by TCU. Yet another penalty. 8th of the game by the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, and look at Bowson. Just enough. That left foot. Obviously, he's lined up close anyways to begin with. You can see clearly as he steps across, that helmet goes over into the neutral zone, and it's a free play for the Clones. Frankly, given the return that you just saw, it was wise by Gary Patterson to get Isahaku out of the game, because if I'm an offensive player and I saw a guy just run out the gate, I would have gone after him. Right. So smart play defensively, making sure that their personnel is fresh for the Horned Frogs for a big 3rd down.
3rd and 4. Kemp over the middle. Pass is high, intended for Lazard. Here comes a flag. Man, I don't know. That looked uncatchable. Jeff Gladney is going to get called for interference. I thought that pass was way too high, though. Even Lazard at 6'5", I don't think had any chance to come down with that.
Pass interference. Defense, number 12. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic 1st down.
And Lazard, you can see breaking in. There was a little grab there by Gladney. I still don't think it was enough to call a pass interference.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they missed that one. Joe Lanning is in at quarterback. Remember, he was the starting quarterback. Moved to middle linebacker. He will come in occasionally, and here he is right now as they're inside the 15-yard line. 14 career starts at quarterback. Looking for an emotional lift. He's the guy to go to. But no running room for Lanning. Ty Summers again at the point of attack.
Lanning, of course, this is the Land Ram package, as they've coined it here in Ames. Still a capable passer, though, so you can't sell out entirely against the run because Lanning is good at throwing fade balls up the field and does a pretty good job outside the pocket. However, he'll come out here as Kemp heads back into the ball game.
And Greg, you know, this is where you got to pay close attention to Kemp because the coaches love his ability to have a short memory. Let's see if he responds from that last decision on the free play because this is the most critical area of the field.
And already threw a pick that did count this quarter. Kemp in the pocket, knocked down by Gaines. So it's 3rd and 10 from the TCU 11. First place at stake in the Big 12. Oklahoma State winning earlier, moving to 4-1 in league play. TCU's 4-0. Iowa State 3-1. Oklahoma 3-1. The Sooners play later tonight on ABC against Texas Tech.
In this situation, 3rd and long, if I'm offensive coordinator Tom Manning, I'm thinking the TCU's likely going to back all the way out because they've been hit so many times on jump balls. Maybe a draw or a screen could be the way to get to the pay dirt.
Look at the defensive front alignment. Look at them all standing, sugaring up.
And the play clock winding down, so Matt Campbell has to burn a timeout.
Welcome back to Ames, 14-7 Iowa State. Time for the Aflac trivia question. Aflac! All right, guys, what three former Iowa State coaches went on to win national championships as FBS head coaches?
First of all, good job waiting for the quack to start your question.
This ain't my first rodeo.
You hit the post.
I know one. And he won the championship at Auburn, and that was Gene Chizik. The other two, I'm not so sure about.
Well, they're both before your time, Greg, I can assure you. Jimmy Johnson, you've heard of him. I think he was one of them. Here's 3rd and 10 for Iowa State, and they just play conservatively, handing it off to Montgomery just to take the points, I guess.
All right, guys, take a look at these three. Johnny Majors, of course. Jimmy Johnson, as you referenced. All right. And then who? Gene Chizik.
Yes.
At Auburn. Now, just because we like to do things for the kiddies at home, would you like a fourth?
Sure.
Pete Carroll, 1978 secondary coach here at Iowa State.
Wow. Very good.
Meanwhile, Garrett Owens on for a 26-yard field goal attempt to make it a 10-point lead for Iowa State. And it is no good. Wow.
Wow. Now I've seen my driver spray right like this, but I have not seen a field goal that started that looked like it was going to be right down the middle, and then all of a sudden it veers right, and it hits the upright, which kicks it even further.
And it's not windy, Greg. I mean, it's calm down here right now.
What a turn of events. You have TCU going in. They throw an interception. It's chased down. Incredible, great effort play by Turpin to make the tackle. You have Iowa State that gets a free play a couple plays later. That's returned on a pick six. It was offside, so it was a free play. And then all of a sudden, a couple plays after that, TCU stands on defense. Some drama here early in the third quarter here in Ames.
Taking over on the 20, TCU. He'll go into work and throws a strike to Diaz. And Diaz, breaking tackles, picks up close to 17. You like that Sonny Cumbie going right back to Kenny Hill saying, go ahead and sling it again. I still have confidence in you. He makes a throw.
I love it. That's a get back on track play. When your quarterback makes a mistake, give him something he's confident throwing. Now he's got his confidence back.
Kyle Hicks hit at the line of scrimmage and dropped. Marcel Spears.
Marcel Spears has been active today. I know Lanning, he gets all the headlines, and rightfully so, with how good he's been. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention Marcel Spears, number 42, and the day he's had. He's been around the line of scrimmage and made several plays in the run game that's made life tough on the Horned Frogs.
Closing in on 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. 2nd and 9 for TCU. Kenny Hill from the pocket. Again, checking it down to Hicks. He'll come up just shy of the line to gain. Goes back to what you're talking about, though. Hill taking what is there.
Yeah, so often he would try to throw it downfield, try to get it all back. He loves making that home run throw, but situational awareness is an area in which he struggled so mightily. Now it's a strength. Right there, checking it down, and you have 3rd and 1. You have your entire playbook available to you when you're in a 3rd and 1. That's exactly what Kenny Hill just gave the Horned Frogs.
They go back to the Wildcat with Darius Anderson. This worked on the last drive in 3rd and short. They need a yard. Anderson running behind a couple of tight ends. And this time Iowa State makes a play. It's J.D. Wagner. No gain, maybe a loss of 1, 4th down.
This is the exact same play they just picked up the 1st down with. And what a job at the point of attack by J.D. Wagner, number 58. Crushing Lucas Niang on the right-hand side and making a play in the backfield. Outstanding job by the senior.
Nunez to punt. Lazard is the deep man. That's a good kick. Fair caught around the 14-yard line. Look at today's All-State, all hands in play. Kenny Hill misfiring as TCU is looking to tie the game, throws an interception. Peavy picking it off and taking it back 70 yards to the 30. But Iowa State unable to get any points because of a missed field goal.
How about the effort by Turpin, too?
Great point, yeah.
He almost blocked. He goes down and saves a touchdown potentially. Couple plays later, field goal goes doink off the upright. And the game and the lead for the Clones remains at 7.
Iowa State's offense back out there, 1st down on the 14-yard line. Swing pass to Deshaunte Jones. They did this in the 1st half, and it got good yardage. Jones getting a 1st down before he's banged out a play by Gladney. 13 yards. Up tempo here for the Cyclones. At the end of the 3rd, Montgomery trying to pick a hole. Picks up 4 to the 31, brought down by Isahaku.
Hey, Greg, just an update on this TCU secondary on the perimeter. We've seen the back shoulder throw so much to the big, tall receivers, Allen Lazard mainly. We've mentioned Gladney, number 12, now matched up versus Lazard, but look at the technique of the corners. They're now in more of a bail technique with their back to the sideline so they can see the quarterback and feel the receiver.
Kemp to throw for Lazard. Put that one on him. It was a great throw. Wilson was underneath, threw it over. Let's go to Cassidy in the studio.
Thanks, Dave. A controversial call in the Penn State-Ohio State game. Trace McSorley finds DeAndre Tompkins, and he gets locked up with Denzel Ward. Initially ruled no touchdown. They reviewed it and reversed the call. Penn State up 35-20.
That's a huge score in Columbus by Penn State. Montgomery on 1st down, doesn't get much, maybe nothing. Ross Blacklock on the tackle.
What a 4th quarter we have coming up. Iowa State comes out swinging in the 1st half. Outplays TCU for 30 minutes. TCU answers right back. It takes 12 seconds for them to get on the board in the 2nd half. Just punch, counterpunch, punch, counterpunch, and a few mistakes and fun plays along the way.
The 4th quarter to come after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Great scene, hear names as we welcome you back to ABC Saturday afternoon college football presented by Kay Jewelers. Take a look at this week's college football playoff rankings brought to you by PlayStation. The committee comes out with its first rankings on Tuesday night. Alabama certainly will be number 1. Penn State, if it wins, you would think would be number 2. Georgia, though, blowing out Florida. TCU right now trailing Iowa State. Wisconsin, another win. Clemson plays tonight. Miami escaping in Chapel Hill. And Notre Dame up 2 scores over NC State. It was just 3 weeks ago. Iowa State beat a top 5 team on the road for the first time ever Now they have a chance to beat a top 5 team for the second time in a month. They can hold on here as we start the fourth. 2nd and 10. And the pass is caught, but well defended. Jones on the grab, but he's brought down by Rico Evans, a linebacker out there covering a receiver.
This is a big 3rd down for Iowa State. Going with a little tempo, too.
3rd and 7. Kempt. And it's broken up. Incomplete. Tejada just got a fingertip on the pass intended for Eaton. 4th down. And Iowa State's going to have to punt. And Colin Downing has struggled punting the ball today.
That's a great play, though, on 3rd down by Ranthony Tejada. He got picked on in the first half. And his frame was exposed. He's only 5'11", going up against some 6'5", 6'6" receivers. He struggled. But on a huge 3rd down, he makes a big pass breakup to force the punt.
And Downing trying to keep it away from Turpin. Kicks it right at him. Turpin signaled for the fair catch. That should be a penalty. There should be a flag. I mean, he caught it and ran, but they didn't throw a penalty flag. Only a 36-yard punt.
They're conversing right now on this, guys.
I mean, he put his hand up.
Yeah, he sure did.
It'll be TCU ball just shy of the 20-yard line. Turpin has scored a touchdown 5 different ways this year, including a kickoff return. He's the first player to do it since Christian McCaffrey did that in 2015. They're saying not enough of a run by Turpin. I disagree. I mean, he was running. That looked like a run to me.
Yeah, it would be a travel in basketball, so I think that's good enough by our standards, wouldn't it?
Design quarterback run for Kenny Hill. And he's out past the 25, picking up about 6 on the play. Monday Night Football, Broncos and Chiefs. Kansas City has come back to earth a little bit. And Denver not playing well offensively right now. 2nd and 4 for TCU. Hill's pass is pulled in for a first down by Dylan Thomas to the 33.
And we haven't really seen TCU employ a hyper-speed tempo yet. Still, even here, little tempo, but not ultra-fast. You have to think that at some point, they might try to ramp it up and test the conditioning for Iowa State.
Hill throws it out to Jalen Austin. Tracked down from behind by McEnroe Alexander at the 38-yard line. 5 yards. That's a good play on first down.
Yeah, positive play. Where TCU's gotten in trouble is when they've lost yards or had a penalty on first down. Anytime they've gained yards, 4 yards is considered ideal. They've usually had a successful series. So, right here, the 2nd and medium, it could be a chance to steal a big chunk with a downfield pass.
Only 7 unbeaten teams remaining in FBS. TCU one of them. At 7-0, here's a wide receiver screen that sails over the head of Turpin. 3rd down and 6.
That's when small targets are difficult to complete passes to. You've got a player in the alley, blocks the view of Kenny Hill, and you can't change the arm angle. Now this crowd is getting cranked up here behind this Iowa State defense. Getting loud down here, guys.
TCU just 3 of 11 on 3rd down. They came in number 1 in the country in 3rd down conversions. Iowa State rushing 3. Hill's pass high and incomplete, intended for Hicks. 4th down.
Kenny Hill's going to wish he had this one back. Starts with his eyes left. He sees Hicks coming on the under route, and it's just a little bit too high. Most wide receivers would likely bring that one in. But with Hicks being a running back, you have to throw it right on his numbers to make it easy on him. Kenny Hill misses high. As a result, the Frogs are punting.
Here next to punt from his 23. Ryan is deep. It's a liner. Kind of dies on the grass, does roll inside the 20, and will end up being a 45-yard punt. 12:51 on the clock. 7-point Iowa State lead.
Tuesday at 7 on ESPN. Presented by Allstate.
More important games impacting the playoff rankings due out on Tuesday. Coming up on ABC tonight after we're done here from Ames with Iowa State in front of TCU 14-7. You got Clemson, Texas Tech coming up. On ABC or ESPN2, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Clemson, Georgia Tech. And they're going to shift here and bring Montgomery into the backfield on first down. Iowa State missed a short field goal in the third quarter that would have given them a 10-point lead. Montgomery slammed to the ground by Banagou. 1-yard pickup. Well, Clemson can't afford to lose again. Lost on the road against Syracuse. Not an easy out. Georgia Tech with Paul Johnson's offense. Oklahoma, Texas Tech. It was a thriller last year. Baker Mayfield threw for 7 touchdowns in a 66-59 win. 2nd and 9 for Iowa State. Kemp has Lazard upended close to the first down. Simmons on the stop. He'll be short, so it's 3rd and 1.
Going with a little tempo here, too. Expect them to run to the right-hand side.
They give it to Montgomery, and Ty Summers is there to stand him up. Man, how many plays has Summers made in this game? He's been all over the place on defense. 4th down at a yard. Now, Iowa State went for it on 4th and short around the 40-yard line of the first half. They can't do this here. They got the lead, and they're inside their 30. Fans are actually booing. I've not ever heard that before.
No, this is absolutely the right call. If you're TCU, you go punt safe, knowing that it's short, and number 7 Lanning is in there, and he's a good ball carrier. But you have to punt it here. You can't give the ball back potentially to the Frogs on such a short field.
Downing has not been good, though, punting the ball. And Turpin is back. Immediately throws up his hand, signaling for the fair catch. That was a very good kick, 45 yards. TCU ball on its 30, down 7 when we return. Well, the last home win for Iowa State against a ranked team happened to be a top 5 team, number 2 Oklahoma State back in 2011. The Cyclones on a Friday night won it in double overtime, 37-31. And then they beat a top 5 team 3 weeks ago on the road for the first time ever, beating Oklahoma in Norman. They've never won 2 games against a top 5 team in the same season. How about they've never won 2 games in a matchup of ranked teams in their history? Worst record in college football history when ranked against another ranked squad. But they got a chance to get number 2 here. Take down number 4, TCU. But the Horned Frogs have the ball. Down 7. Darius Anderson cuts it back. Breaks a tackle. Anderson past the 40. Into Iowa State territory. Scooting out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Picking up 31.
That's going to be the guy, Darius Anderson. Expect him to continue getting looks in this offense. He's their best offensive playmaker.
They'll give it to him again, coming this way. Anderson. First down inside the 30. They are leaning on him up front right now. 14 more yards for Anderson. Where was this in the first half?
And they're finally running the stretch zone, too. That's not a play they've run at all to this point. They run it twice now, and look at the results. Anderson, on more than one occasion, has put this team on his back. Needs to do it again here with his quarterback, Kenny Hill, really struggling with his accuracy and consistency.
69 yards rushing on just 9 carries for Darius Anderson. 3 straight rushes. Anderson, another big running lane. Puts his head down and makes it to the 22 for 8 more yards.
Well, Greg, you keep talking about this tempo. The tempo is coming because they're getting first downs. You don't get first downs, there is no tempo, and this is the biggest difference between the first half and the second half is the ability to be in manageable second and third situations, which is John Haycott, the defensive coordinator at Iowa State's worst nightmare.
And Tom, TCU's only run 49 offensive snaps. They just haven't been able to sustain drives.
No points on offense. Remember, their touchdown was on special teams to start the second half. Here's Hicks into the secondary, and Hicks dragged down at the 5, plus a late penalty flag was thrown right at the feet of the center, Austin Schlottman. And TCU is acting as if this will be on Schlottman, which would be penalty number 10 on TCU.
Holding. Offense, number 51. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
And how many times over the course of this game have we seen TCU get a great run only for it to be called back with a hold? Look at the center, number 51, Schlottman. He's who got called right there. I mean, it looks pretty clean. Yeah. I mean, it looked like his hands were inside, and of course that wasn't the best angle. The officials had a better angle than that, but kind of a ticky-tack call that has now derailed what was a lot of momentum.
2nd and 12, Hill get a key, nowhere to go, he'll lose a yard. Well defended by Everett Edwards, so now it's 3rd down and 13, nearing 9 minutes to go.
Penalties are just so huge. You have 2nd and 2, you've had 4 consecutive plays all on the ground that were successful. You have a hold, and all of a sudden you're at 3rd and 13, and they have not had success on 3rd down by their standard all day long. If I'm Kenny Hill, got to dial in and be as accurate on this throw as I've been at any point throughout today's game.
Hill's pass caught, 1st down inside the 20, and down to the 10-yard line. Desmond White inside the 5. They tackle him around the 3. It'll be 1st and goal. TCU trying to go up tempo here, and now Kenny Hill will settle it down. 1st and goal from the 3. That was a huge play. Give Hill credit. Hanging in there, waiting for White to come free.
Yeah, and Iowa State dropped a lot of defenders into some of those passing lanes. Kenny Hill found the 5'7" White for a huge conversion. And TCU now bringing in the bigger set, 2 tight ends to try to run the football.
Iowa State with 9 at the line of scrimmage. There's going to be an option, but first a timeout called by Gary Patterson. That will leave both teams with 2, and the play clock was winding down. Gary Patterson not happy with someone that looked like it appeared to be a fan. Timeout, TCU. Our Pacific Life game summary with just outside 8 minutes to play in the 4th, and Iowa State up 14-7. TCU has been in the red zone now twice in the second half. An interception by Kenny Hill the last time they were down here. The only score since halftime, a 94-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Cavante Turpin. Al Kemp threw actually 2 picks, but 1 didn't count because of an offside call on TCU's defense. They're going to go Wildcat here and bring Alana Lua, 235 pounds, in to take the snap. Interesting call here. Alana Lua stacked up at the line of scrimmage.
There's no mystery to that, fellas.
This is Alana Lua's bread and butter. Red zone, goal line, and short yardage, but I don't agree with it. Not against a team where you have a decided skill and athleticism advantage against. One thing that Iowa State does a great job of is they're big, they're physical, and they're strong. So why would you bring in a big, physical, strong runner to go against them? I'd go with speed, and I would have number 6 or number 21, Anderson or Hicks, respectively, on the field to run the football.
Hicks is back in there with Hill at quarterback on 2nd and goal. Hill going to throw, in trouble, hit, and sacked back at the 11. He fumbled the ball. Recovered by Iowa State. J.D. Wagner comes up with the football. Another red zone turnover by Kenny Hill. It's out. He's on top of an Iowa State player. Willie Harvey knocks it free, along with Jaquan Bailey, who had Hill wrapped up. What a mistake.
Can't happen. Absolutely can't happen. Live to play another down. Second down. You run the ball to get to this point, so why they're dropping back and throwing it on play action is beyond me. They decide to throw the play action. Nothing's there. Kenny Hill's got one hand on the ball. Big fumble. Biggest play of the game so far by the Iowa State defense.
But at what point, though, if you're Sonny Cumbie, do you trust your quarterback not to make that mistake? Kemp's throw, knocked down, incomplete. Glad he makes another play on Lazard, who's been quiet here in the second half.
Kenny Hill's got to protect the ball. There's no denying that. But you've done such a good job on that drive leading up to it to get to first and goal at the 3 by running the football. Why they would abandon it at that point is beyond me. The only reason why they had to abandon it on 3rd and long earlier is because of a penalty.
They throw it on first down, Iowa State. And Kemp to the air here on second down. Pass behind the receiver, incomplete. Try to hit Butler, so we got 3rd and long. Let's check in with Cassidy.
Thanks, Dave. We got upset alerts going off in Evanston. Number 16, Michigan State Northwestern. Justin Jackson, the running back, throwing to Bennett Skowronek. 12-yard TD pass. Wildcats up 17-10 with about 3 to play in that one on ESPN. Back to you guys.
And here it's 14-7 Iowa State. I'm a little surprised the Cyclones come out throwing the ball here.
Me too, Dave.
You're up 7, momentum. Take some time off the clock maybe. TCU's offense hasn't done anything in this game.
They haven't done much on the ground all day, though, and their only way to move the football has been through the air.
Lob to Montgomery. Makes a great catch, but he cannot get away from Ennis Gaines. Actually lost yardage on the play, so 4th down. They got a punt near the goal line to Cavante Turpin, who's already got a kick return for a touchdown in this game. 3 punt returns in his career for scores, including last week against Kansas. Again, he scored in 5 different ways this year. Receiving touchdown, rushing touchdown, kick punt, and a passing touchdown. Downing's last punt was good, 45 yards. But the pressure on now having to boot from his own end zone. This is a terrific kick. Well done, young man. 49 yards, no return by Turpin.
College football on ABC is presented by Kay Jewelers. Kay Jewelers, who would like to remind you that right now it's engagement season. And in part by Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific.
Iowa State beat Oklahoma 3 weeks ago. Has the lead here against number 4 TCU. That would double their win total against top 5 teams. We just had 1 coming into the year. And the last team to win against 2 top 5 teams in the same season was LSU back in 2011. But TCU has the ball, and Darius Anderson is free. Breaks the tackle, has a first down to the Iowa State 44-yard line.
Iowa State on the last 2 drives has had no answer for that outside zone stretch run. They have no answer for it. TCU needs to continue trying to give it to Anderson and Hicks when he's in there on that stretch zone on the perimeter.
Anderson at 96 rushing yards on the day. Here he goes again, but another flag down. Anderson picks up 8, but will it hold up? TCU has been penalized 10 times for 94 yards today.
Holding. Offense number 51. 10-yard penalty. First down.
And the center, Austin Schloman, has had a rough day in that regard. A couple of them here in the 4th quarter.
And how many times have we seen TCU with a big first down play only to have something called back. And it's a good call. I completely agree with that call. Schlottman had that left arm draped, and that led to the big run. Good call by the officials. TCU continues to make mistakes when it comes to penalties up front.
So it's 1st and 20. And Kenny Hill on the quarterback run. Wrapped up at the 47 by Spears. Only a 2 or 3 yard gain. More coverage of our game. Go to ESPN3 for coaches' press conference and so much more. Tom Luganbill will have interviews. Will we have another upset of a top 5 team? Or will TCU come back and stay unbeaten with Texas looming? And also 2 weeks from today, TCU has to go to Norman. Could have a 4-way tie atop the Big 12 after tonight. 2nd and 18. It's Hicks running right. And a good open field tackle by DeAndre Payne. He's played an excellent game for Iowa State. It's going to be 3rd and long.
It's getting to the point, too, where it has to be 4-down territory. Here's Sonny Cumbie, the offensive coordinator for TCU. You could think to yourself, I have 2 downs to get it. So maybe dial up a play here that can pick me up 10 and come back with a 3rd and very manageable.
Well, especially Greg, how long they're taking for this here. You got to think they're in 4 down. The play clock's at 4. They don't want to have to waste the timeout. They got to snap it. Play clock at 1. They get the play away. Here's Anderson. But I think Gary Patterson called that timeout because he was worried about getting the delay game. That would leave TCU with 1.
Timeout, TCU. 30-second timeout.
Well, they're definitely in 4-down territory now. You don't have time if you don't get 1st down. All right, let's get you caught up for those of you just tuning in. Kyle Kemp with a touchdown pass to start the game to Matthew Eaton. And then he goes to the big guy, Hakeem Butler, to go 14-0. But TCU starts the 3rd quarter with a 94-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Cavante Turpin. 2 red zone mistakes by TCU's Kenny Hill. Here an interception. Iowa State missed a 26-yard field goal that would have given them a 10-point lead. And then TCU going to try to tie the game. And Kenny Hill dropping back. Doesn't take the sack. Tries to do too much. Coughs it up. And here we are at 14-7.
Isn't it amazing, too, guys? We talk in football about 3rd down and how critical it is. And you don't realize that the difference between an inch and a mile, what 3rd and 2 is and 3rd and 12 is. I mean, it's just unbelievable because it's been told the entire story today of TCU's fortune.
Pitch to Darius Anderson. Anderson smacked to the ground by Marcel Spears. It is 4th and long. He lost a yard, and now if you're Gary Patterson, how do you handle this? Do you punt it? You're 4th and 13. Or do you say, we just don't have enough time. We got to go.
I think you punt it. Given the way your defense has played in the 2nd half, you punt it here. You hope that you can force a 3 and out. And give your offense another shot with really good field position.
And keep in mind, Iowa State can't run the football. And that's what Gary Patterson's banking on as well.
Nunez to punt. And it's short. But it takes a good bounce down to the 9-yard line. 37-yard punt. Tonight at 8 Eastern on ABC or ESPN2. Number 7 Clemson, already with 1 loss, taking on Georgia Tech. Or number 10 Oklahoma with 1 loss, taking on Texas Tech. Check your local listings for the game in your area, or you can watch them both by using the ESPN app. Great day to have the app because there's so many games going on right now. So many great games tonight. Iowa State, you would think, a couple of 1st downs away from sealing this because, again, TCU with just 1 timeout. But to Tom's point, Iowa State has not run the ball effectively at all here today. And they said it was touched by TCU at the 20-yard line, and that's why they spotted it there.
It was, Dave, and you know what? Twice we've seen it hit the TCU player in the head, preventing further yardage.
And it hit Garrett Wallow of TCU on the 20. Here's Montgomery. He's bottled up. TCU will let the clock run here, save the timeout. For now, inside 3 minutes to go.
You can say what you want about TCU's defense to this point, but in the second half, they have been up to the task. And they have really eliminated David Montgomery, the running back. They've eliminated him completely from the game plan. Here in a run situation where you have to run it, Iowa State's not feeling real confident in the push they're getting up front.
But look at this. They don't have a back in the backfield. And now they're going to shift Montgomery back there with the play clock down to 3. And a timeout by Matt Campbell. He was worried about getting a stoppage and a delay of game foul.
Second charge
that helps TCU.
Iowa State, 30-second timeout.
Almost seemed like Iowa State got a little too cute there, waiting to shift the back into the backfield. Kickoff Sports Center at night, 1:45 a.m. We talked about all the great games this afternoon and tonight, and then you have the ASU and USC. That's a good one. Kirk is going to give his top 4. The playoff rankings come out for the first time on Tuesday. Plus, you got Game 4 of the World Series tonight. Dodgers trying to even things up with the Astros. Don't worry, Greg. We'll find a TV for you to watch it here.
I'm not the only Dodger fan on the crew, and I know I'm not the only Dodger fan in Ames, Iowa today. I've had several that were glued to the television last night. So I am definitely pulling for my boys in blue tonight to see if they can even things out against the Stros.
But that was a mistake, though, by Iowa State having to use a timeout. Do you think it was just too much waiting for Montgomery to motion him into the backfield, getting too cute there?
It's better to call timeout and make sure that you have the perfect play called than just run it for no reason. And then comes the land ram package. Joel Lanning at quarterback.
Interesting time to do this. And there's a penalty marker. I just don't like switching quarterbacks this late in the game.
I can see where they're going with it, though.
Offense, number 66.
But Kyle Kemp got you this far.
Second down.
I mean, you're here because of Kyle Kemp. Why is he on the sideline and you've got a guy that you moved to middle linebacker in there with 2 minutes to go?
Because you have to try to get something out of the run game. Right. David Montgomery has done nothing to this point. He's averaging less than 3 yards a carry against this TCU defense. So you have to generate that rushing attack with the lead, playing 4-minute offense, and with a quarterback that can run it, you pick up an additional blocker, and it's favorable from a numbers standpoint.
And you saw there the false start. His cadence different than Kyle Kemp. 2nd and 15. They're really helping TCU stopping the clock. Here's Lanning keeping it, and he gets maybe a yard brought down by Howard. And now Gary Patterson will call that timeout. Stop the clock with 2:21. Lanning is hurt too. Now think about this. Lanning's shaken up. He's one of your best players on defense. Iowa State, to me, seems to be outthinking itself down the stretch. Here are the mistakes by TCU, though, in the red zone. The pick thrown by Kenny Hill when they were trying to tie the game at 14. And then here, as they're again trying to tie the game at 14, holds on to it and coughs it up, recovered by Iowa State. Kenny Hill hoping to get another shot here, but they're out of timeouts. So if Iowa State can convert this first down, he might be over. Iowa State's lost 11 straight home games to ranked foes, going back to the win against number 2 Oklahoma State 2011. Kyle Kemp back in. So you got to figure you got to let him throw the ball here, right? I mean, you get a first down, the game's over.
I would still lean towards running the football, or a very high percentage completion that is almost impossible for it to fall incomplete. So I would definitely run it, knowing that TCU is out of timeouts.
TCU showing blitz. They will keep it on the ground. Montgomery going to get taken down after a gain of 1. So that'll take the clock down to about 1:35 as Ty Summers makes another play. That'll be enough time for TCU, and it's been an up and down day for the punter, Colin Downing. Kenny Hill knows he'll get one more crack at it. 2 turnovers in the red zone. TCU out of timeouts, but Gary Patterson's team will get one more shot. Iowa State has to punt from inside its 10-yard line. Kavontae Turpin, already a kick return for a touchdown. The punter, Colin Downing's last 2 kicks were very good. Going to try to keep it away from Turpin here. And he does. It takes a sideways hop, though. And Iowa State downs it at the 47. A 36-yard punt. TCU will have the ball near midfield. Iowa State trying to knock off a top 5 team for the second time in 3 weeks. They had 1 win against top 5 teams in the history of their program coming into the season. Kenny Hill has turned the ball over twice in the red zone here in the second half, with TCU looking to tie the game. He'll get one more shot to try to keep the Horned Frogs undefeated before they return home to play Texas next Saturday night on ESPN.
Joel Lanning coming on the field, guys. Defensively, Matt Campbell was looking all over the place on the sideline for big number 7. Looks like he's healthy, good to go.
Time is tipped, incomplete. Deflected by Jaquan Bailey, who dropped into coverage.
Great job by Bailey, getting that big left paw up and knocking down that pass, reading Kenny Hill's eyes, which takes him right to the spot.
Hill on 2nd and 10. Throws and is picked off. Intercepted by Spears. And TCU can't stop the clock anymore.
Marcel Spears, the sophomore that has done everything for the Cyclones today, steps up and makes the biggest play of the ball game. What a job by Marcel Spears, reading the eyes, collapsing on the pass and reeling it in. And the crowd at Ames, they can feel it.
2 knees away from victory, with TCU unable to stop the clock. There's one.
Best formation in football.
1 win in program history against a top 5 team before 2017. In the month of October, 2 wins against top 5 teams for Iowa State. After this snap.
Unbelievable.
And the talk of Matt Campbell and his future only going to heat up even more after this week.
What a coach he is. What a team this is. Cinderella is alive and well in Ames, Iowa.
No doubt. They are the new darlings of college football in 2017. They do it again against the top 5 team, knocking off unbeaten TCU as they mob the field here at Jack Trice. Tom is with Matt Campbell.
Well, Coach, you said you love the way this football team handles the ebbs and flows of the game, and boy, did you today. How do you describe this feeling right now?
Yeah, it's awesome. That's why we came here, to win games like this. And, you know, you look at this stadium, you look at this crowd, and we knew we could do something special here. We're just beginning, but, boy, I'm really proud of our kids.
How about your defensive effort today? You don't allow an offensive touchdown. Simply remarkable. What do you have to say about those kids?
Guts. You know, that goal line stand down there and to be able to create the turnover, gutsy. And Coach Haycock, our defensive staff, couldn't be prouder of those guys.
Take a look around real quick, Coach. Just take it in. Take a look around right now. You haven't had this happen here at Jack Trice Stadium. Go enjoy it.
I appreciate you, Greg. Thanks so much.
And Iowa State is tied for first place in the Big 12 at 4-1 with TCU and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma plays Texas Tech tonight. If the Sooners win, they'll be 4-1. And do not rule out the Cyclones winning the conference. They've won in Norman. They've beaten TCU. They have Oklahoma State in 2 weeks here. They are at West Virginia next week.
This team is just so fun to watch. They do all the little things right. This coaching staff. They maximize the potential of the collective group. And look at the results. 52,000 strong on hand here in Jack Trice Stadium. Each and every one deserves the opportunity to celebrate because they were a big part of it. They made life difficult on TCU all day. And aside from a 12-second moment when Kevontae Turpin took the opening kickoff of the second half to the house, this game was dominated by the Cyclones. Congrats to their fans, congrats to their coaching staff, and more than anything, congrats to their players.
What about TCU now? One loss. Obviously, they can't lose again. Another undefeated team goes down. Only 6 left in college football.
And still plenty to play for. You look at their athleticism, their coaching staff, they'll figure it out. TCU, certainly don't forget about them when thinking about the college football playoff in the next few weeks.
Same goes for two teams that are going to be kicking off shortly on ABC or ESPN2. Clemson not out of it, obviously, but one loss. Clemson plays Georgia Tech. Oklahoma with one loss. Oklahoma plays Texas Tech. They will celebrate all night, all week in Ames. More on ESPN3 after Iowa State does it again. For Greg McElroy, Tom Luganville, I'm Dave Pasch. So long from Ames, Iowa. The Cyclones own this time, 14-7. They beat TCU.